Your morning just got more interesting. Distilled and barrel-picked for your listening pleasure. Bo Bishop, a local sports media legend. What William T. Sherman was to the Union Army, he is to Northern College football. A husband, a father, and middling youth sports coach. He's friends with Central Ohio sporting royalty.
Talking to Ohio State Athletic Director Ross Bjorken. Coach Day walking on with us right now. Good to see you, buddy. Good buddy Austin Ward. My good buddy Tim May, the Tim May Show. The great Doug Lavery is joining us.
Hi, everybody. Dom Tiberi here.
Oh, Reese came in and he handed me papers.
Yeah,
and then he said, "You see that button? That's the only button you need to worry about. Don't touch. There's 8,000 buttons in front of me." Oh, I didn't know what he was talking about.
The one that says on.
We blew the budget on this imaging, and only two guys answered our ad on Craigslist. Ryan Baker and Eric Reeser. Act accordingly. You're now listening to Bishop and Friends.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years.
All right, let's do it live on a Thursday edition of the program. Bo the Boys with you for the next 10 o'clock. We will hit your emails. A big mailbag again this week. You guys are absolutely crushing it on that side of things. Paul Finebaum going to join us as is customary at 10:30. 11 o'clock, we'll hit a little higher or lower. 11:30, Dane Brugler will drop by because guess what, kids? It is draft day. And my relationship with this draft is a little – I've told you the story before. The NBA draft was one that I followed intently as a kid. It was the one where college basketball and then the Final Four in March Madness and then drafting ready-made stars. And if you think about Bake, you're 40, you're in my vicinity. If you think about when I first started watching drafts, late 80s, early 90s, if you drafted number one overall, you were getting Shaquille O'Neal. Or you were getting a game-changing player at number one, number two. You were getting a Grant Hill. You were getting a known commodity. The NBA draft has fallen off in large part because, although it'll be a big one this year with Cooper Flagg, because you're drafting kids who are one-and-dones, and you don't have that immediate impact right away that you had in a previous generation. That the same is not true of the NFL draft. They have kept it. They've got the best minor league system in all of sport with the idea of 3-year college players who have been curated, who are stars, who are now millionaires, now being drafted into the National Football League. If the Browns take Travis Hunter, as is expected tonight at number 2, that number 12 jersey, provided that's the one he wants to wear, will be on a very short list of the most bought jerseys in the NFL. This happened with Johnny Manziel with the Browns in 14. It was the number one jersey sale in the National Football League in 2014 when they drafted him. Why? Well, one, it's a diehard fan base. It's rabid. But the other part of that was he's a known commodity. When the Bengals drafted Joe Burrow, they drafted a ready-made superstar. He was already fully formed by the time they drafted him. It is an incredible shot of adrenaline to an organization. The draft is. You have to hit on it to be good. You have to. But it's also a shot of adrenaline for a fan base. There are draft day moments that you covet forever. And you two growing up as Browns fans, this was your Super Bowl. And if you listen to local sports talk up in the Cleveland area for the last 15 years, the draft is the Super Bowl. It's bigger than anything else because it's the one time a year where you can peddle hope and you can be hopeful. What is your favorite draft day memory? Go ahead, Reese.
Favorite draft day memory?
Or one that sticks out, a draft day that sticks out.
So the Johnny Manziel, Justin Gilbert draft day sticks out in my mind.
All right, I want to know your view of it because potentially naturally pessimistic in nature. Mm-hmm. Were you swept up in Johnny Mania?
No, I understood the pick. You need to land a quarterback. I didn't know who Justin Gilbert was, so that was fun.
I'm not sure they did.
Yeah, I think he was tall, and
I think Mike Pettin wanted him.
He thought he was tall. It was a tall defensive back. So
who were we drafting? Yeah.
And for that, I mean, there's so many of these guys that the Browns have drafted have been. Who is this guy, and where did he come from?
Sure. Yep.
I think to the Myles Garrett one, it was a slam dunk. So I wanted, I guess. I mean, Kellen Winslow comes to mind because you'd had that I'm a soldier talk. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, you'd beaten that Miami team Ohio State had. So that was kind of one of the first, like, oh, I really know that guy. And sure, see what happens with this crazy person. Because even back then I knew, I was like, this guy's not stable. Turns out how unstable he was. So the draft and Eric Reeser have had a very weird history, as I'm sure any Browns fan has had with the NFL draft. And with the Browns not having had one since, 2021?
Greg Newsome was the last one.
It's been a minute since I've looked forward to this event. Really look forward to it. Because
it probably also, the days that you're describing, I would imagine, and Baker, I want you weighing on this as well, I would imagine the drafting of Johnny Manziel, if you just stop it at that day's experience, was as big a shot of adrenaline as you could have. I would imagine another one from a Browns fan would be when they traded up and got Brady Quinn. Wait a second. The Notre Dame kid, the Ohio kid in the Bernie jersey is falling in the draft, and we can get our franchise quarterback? You got to be kidding me. How'd that happen? And so there are those moments, Bake. What are they for you?
So you just mentioned the Browns one that really sticks out to me. And if I don't know if it's for the Browns, it's because just that image of Brady sitting there in the draft room forever. And it's like, where's this kid going to go? And you're thinking as a Browns fan, well, maybe this could happen. Maybe somehow, you could do this. This is a local kid. You just maybe you've got a chance. You passed on the local kid and Ben before. Maybe you could this could be the guy that could be your quarterback. So I remember that. I remember Aaron Rodgers sitting there forever. It was such a debate. And number one, was it going to be Alex Smith or Aaron Rodgers? And never did you think that both of those guys wouldn't be drafted in the top 5 of that draft.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, Rodgers just starts sliding, and you're like, what in the world? And then the Packers draft him, and you're like, the Packers don't need a quarterback. What are they doing?
Right.
And it was just such a surreal feeling. I remember the Michael Vick Drew Brees draft very well when Atlanta trades up to get him, and the Chargers end up with LaDainian Tomlinson and Drew Brees, 2 future Hall of Famers, even though Brees is probably more known for his time at the Saints. And then the 04 draft, you always remember with all those quarterbacks and Eli saying, don't take me number 1.
That's one that I think people forget a lot because I think the Manning family is just almost so pristine that you can't even discuss anything negative about them. But Eli Manning was drafted by the Chargers. That's how it went. He was drafted by the Chargers, and they said, do not draft us. We are not playing there. And then they did the deal, and they sent him to New York, and they ended up with Phillip Rivers. And I suppose it worked out for both. I don't know that Eli would have elevated the Chargers. Phillip Rivers had a great career in Los Angeles. They just never really put a team. So maybe Eli was right all along because he won 2 Super Bowls. But, yeah, those are the ones. You remember the one when the Vikings missed their pick?
Yeah, I remember that.
When they forgot their pick?
Wasn't it the Ravens that sprinted?
It was like the 03 draft. They missed their pick. So it's the chaos of it. And there's some nostalgia here too, right? It's Chris Berman and it's Mel Kiper and it's all of that. And it's become so much bigger now. It all used to be for the kids out there. Remember, it all used to be on a Saturday. It would start at like noon and then just go all day. It wasn't a multiple day prime time event the way that it is, but they've realized that there are ratings in it and it'll dwarf whatever is on the NBA or the NHL this week. It'll absolutely dominated. It's going to be on ESPN and ABC tonight and NFL Network. They're all going to do draft coverage. We've got a ton of guys that we're going to be watching for, as many as hopefully 3 Buckeyes go off the board today. And then by the time we get to tomorrow, you could have like 6 on the second and third round who could go off the board. So tomorrow's going to be crazy for the Buckeyes. There's so many instances. I remember I've said many times, and knew Ryan Leaf growing up and played some all-star stuff with him. And I remember him going 2 and what that kind of meant for a kid from Montana to go number 2 overall, but also knowing Ryan a little bit and thinking that's probably a pretty big gamble for the Chargers based on kind of his personality traits that he had at that time. I'm always very protective of the Buckeye quarterbacks. Justin Fields is probably on a very short list of my favorite players to ever play here for everything he did, everything he represented, the way he kickstarted the Ryan Day era, everything that came with it. And I remember Threes and I doing the show and just saying, like, anywhere but Chicago. Anywhere but Chicago. We wanted him in San Francisco so badly. You just thought, God, that's the spot. Put him in San Francisco with Kyle's offense, and let him play in that structure and to be nurtured that way. And you just knew that if he went to Chicago, it'd be an absolute mess. That caused you to have maybe weren't all in as maybe could have been on CJ. We didn't probably puff our chest quite as much with CJ because of how rough it was for Justin those first couple of years in Chicago. It's hope, though, right? I mean, you think about the franchise-defining decisions that are made. And the reality is, when you are in the position that the Browns are in, or the position that the Bengals are in, the position that the Steelers are in, the three teams we talk about the most, all of those teams have incredible salary issues from the standpoint of they're paying star players a lot of money. And the only way that you can compete when you're doing that is to land on your picks. It's just that simple. So you want to talk about critical? Yeah, it's a critical draft for the Cleveland Browns. You want to talk about critical? It is a critical draft for the Cincinnati Bengals. They've paid their guys. Now, these picks have to hit in order to build a Super Bowl contender. That's 100% what has to happen. The same, I would say, is true of the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's critical that they land on this. They do not have a quarterback currently. Will they have a quarterback by the time they draft tonight? Will Aaron Rodgers let somebody know if he's going to be a Pittsburgh Steeler by the time they draft tonight? Remember, it was in the draft in Cleveland where we're sitting here in the middle of the afternoon, and all of a sudden it was like a play-by-play guy for the Minnesota Vikings released a report that Aaron Rodgers didn't want to be in Green Bay anymore. That was at like 3:30 on the draft Thursday. And then Schefter verified it, and it's like, wait, what is going on? Rodgers isn't happy? So those are the things that are in play tonight. It's big. It's a big night. You need to hit on these picks in the worst possible way. And we're gonna cover it throughout the day. We'll keep you up to date on all the rumors and innuendo that's out there, what we're hearing on the Buckeyes side of things, where our guys could go. Could be some big trades out there as well. Jerry Jones teased that. We'll get to all of that throughout the course of the next 3 hours. Going to be a fun program today. We're off and running on a Thursday. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
We're the girthiest radio station in the history of radio. Uncomfortably girthy. This promo is uncomfortable. The Fan, Ohio's girth destination.
Don't sweat it. Call Care Heating and Cooling and we'll fix your air conditioner fast. 1-800-COOLING.
Master Grillers Unite. The grilling season never ends at Billiards Plus. Come see their best-in-class grills for yourself and check out Central Ohio's largest selection of pool tables, game furniture, and shuffleboard. Family-owned and operated. Billiards Plus on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin.
It's Leslie from Pella Columbus.
I'm Wilson from that other window place. Leslie, what's that hot lamp against your window for?
Pella windows are tested up to 160 degrees Wilson to ensure efficiency and the lowest energy bills possible, even in the craziest of temperatures. Put your hand on there.
All right. God, that's hot.
On the window, Wilson.
Oh, hey, that is quite nice and cool. So I'm going to go grab some ice now.
Get the window that Columbus homeowners rated #1 for innovation at PellaColumbus.com.
When your boy Flavor Flav counts from 3, you're going to go to Cane's and you're going to order hand-battered, cooked-to-order chicken fingers. 3, 2, 1. Raising Cane's. One love.
Hey folks, Austin Ward here with an opportunity to lose 40 by the 4th. Yes, pounds, and why not? I dropped my first 40 in just 8 weeks. It was easy, and it will be easy for you, too. Take the medication-free and lasting approach. Awaken180weightloss.com.
Thinking about buying your first home? Now, with Third Federal, you can buy your first home and pay no PMI. Hi, I'm Mark Stefanski, Chairman and CEO of Third Federal. Private mortgage insurance, or PMI, can cost thousands of dollars over the life of your loan. And you may not realize PMI doesn't protect you. It only protects the lender in case of default. But at Third Federal, you can buy a home with just 5% down and no PMI. Plus, first-time home buyers get $750 off of closing costs. So if you're thinking about buying your first home, go for it and visit thirdfederal.com.
Even before you find a home, lock in 6.625%, APR 6.685% on a 30-year fixed-rate purchase mortgage. Visit thirdfederal.com or call 1-800-3RD-FED today. APR reflects 15% down for $350,000 loan amount. Rate requires automatic payment program and is subject to change. Restrictions apply. See conditions for closing cost coupon at thirdfederal.com/FTHB. Equal housing lender.
Pay today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Join our resident gambling degenerates Dave Biddle and Scotty Vegas for On the Money Sunday morning at 9.
Presented by ESPN Bet at Hollywood Casino Columbus.
All the action, none of the responsibility. The Fan.
Hi, I'm Josie. My daughter turns 5 today. Blow out the candles. I'm also an Ohio State Highway Patrol trooper. When you move over and slow down, you're not only giving me room to work, you're making sure I can get home to celebrate with my daughter.
Roadside workers have lives and families, but when they're on the job, they put it all on the line to protect and serve us. When you see flashing lights, remember, they're not just roadside workers. Thank you for moving over and slowing down.
Brought to you by ODOT, USDOT, NHTSA, and ODPS.
Did you know 38% of Ohio's teenagers have spent money on gambling in video and online games? Items like mystery boxes, skins, and spin to win mimic gambling, putting children at a higher risk of experiencing a gambling disorder as an adult. So get in the know about youth gambling and start the conversation with discussion guides, parent resources, and more at changethegameohio.org. That's changethegameohio.org.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
We're looking at a quiet morning out there. Temperatures in the 40s and 50s, warming into the upper 70s by lunch and low 80s this afternoon. Pop-up showers and storms will be possible this afternoon, so keep an eye on the radar. Those chances end tonight with more widespread chances for rain coming back in for Friday and Friday night. That's your latest 10 weather impact forecast. I'm meteorologist Michael Behrens on 97.1 The Fan.
Question from a listener: do you dopes ever get tired of talking about Ohio State? No. The Buckeye Show.
Weeknights at 6.
The Fan. Pull up a stool and ask the bartender for something neat, because Uncle Bo is on the radio. This is Bishop and Friends.
And draft week is here. The Fan will have special programming all week long. Where will the former Ohio State players go? Who will the Browns take at number 2? Draft week on The Fan is presented by the Crown Automotive Group of Dublin, offering sales and service for Mercedes-Benz, Ineos, Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, and Ram on that side of things. All right, NFL Draft is going to have most of the attention today, but we had a lot going on in the last 24 hours of the other things we pay very close attention to, including Ohio State football. This had been kind of rumored for a while, but North Carolina defensive end Bo Atkinson committed to Ohio State yesterday. 35 tackles, 7.5 sacks in 2024, chose the Buckeyes over Georgia and South Carolina. 2 seasons of eligibility left for him, so he will go in a defensive end room with Caden Curry and Kenyatta Jackson, but is definitely going to be someone. He's someone they identified very quickly, and I think one of the things to pay attention to is where Ohio State's focus seems to be is on the defensive front. Former Georgia Southern defensive tackle Troy Pikes is scheduled at Ohio State on Friday. There was another defensive tackle target, Moran Watson, signed with Texas on Tuesday. So that was one of the things where you get out of spring and you say, all right, where are the inflection points in terms of need? And the one thing that obviously Ryan Day and his staff felt was it was on the defensive front, that there were so many guys who were lost, including the 2 defensive ends, that they would need to add there, and they have. They've been aggressive. Atkinson that's a nice haul to pull him in. Anytime you get a victory over Georgia and South Carolina, that's a win on the recruiting side of things, and that's a win on the portal side of things. So I think I think you brought this up a couple of years ago, Reese, in regard to, actually it was last year in regard to Ryan Day. No, 2 years ago. It was the McCord-Brown year when we talked about, hey, if Ryan Day likes these guys, then that tells you enough about his roster. And if they're in the market for defensive tackles, what they learned this spring is, defensive tackles, defensive ends, what they learned this spring is they weren't good enough up front, not to the standard that they've had here recently.
And I think, there was talk that Atkinson could make his way into the interior if it was needed. There's still time. The portal closes tomorrow, but there's still a plethora of players that, like you mentioned, a couple guys that Ohio State's had their eye on. A couple of guys have found new homes. There's still plenty of players in the portal that Ohio State could get just from a depth perspective.
I think the other thing, our audience, it's important to remember the portal closes Friday. What that means, though, is no more people can go into it.
Right. And even then,
It doesn't. Well, yeah, I guess you do.
Good luck enforcing that if someone wants to go into the portal on Saturday.
Yeah. We had the Wisconsin kid who didn't even enter the portal. Nope. He just went to Miami. So I guess you can do whatever the hell you want. But theoretically, you can you don't have to have a contract. You don't have to be on a roster by tomorrow. It's just that's theoretically the last day you can join in, as it were. So, yeah, I think that's something to watch for there. Aaron Bradshaw heading to Memphis. This is his third school in 3 years. Had almost no impact here. I mean, truly, just really didn't. Was not anywhere what they thought. And I heard Tim and Tyvis talking on Buckeye Show last night about this in terms of just, that portal experience last year for the Buckeyes went about as poorly as it could. And I think when there's all these reports in college basketball right now that what used to cost about $5-6 million for a roster for next year is double, upwards of 10 for the teams that are at the top of it. If you're going to spend that type of money, you best not miss. And Buckeye basketball missed last year in the portal in a pretty big way.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate, right? Like you got some stuff out of Micah Parrish, but you knew he was just a one-year guy. You got a great Kentucky game out of Aaron Bradshaw, and you got a pretty good, I believe it was Purdue. He had a pretty good game against Purdue where he scored 12 points. But other than that, you really got nothing but headache and maybe heartache from Aaron Bradshaw here. So unfortunately for Ohio State, hopefully the only thing that you can hope is it was Diebler's first year. Maybe they felt rushed a little bit. They went for the star power. Hopefully now this year they're getting a little more interesting, more guys that have experience, proven track records with Tilly and Knoll, the two guys you've gotten so far. You heard Adam Jardy on with Morning Juice this morning, and he was talking about a potential superstar that Ohio State is linked to. The guys on the Field of 68 podcast this morning, which is Goodman, and I can't remember the other guy, said that Darian Williams of Texas Tech is a guy that they were talking about Kansas's interest in him, and Darian Williams is going through the draft process, and he hopes to be going to the NBA, but Ohio State is one of the schools in on him, which that would be huge.
Yeah, I think you have to be careful, though, here, right? I think you have to think about team building, too. And you got a lot of guys coming back who are going to want to eat. So how that all fits is going to be, that's the job. That's why it's a very difficult job, is to sort those things out.
Get the dude, though, and then let the chips fall where they do, right?
I think that, yes, but I think that's easier to do in football than it is in basketball. I think in basketball, that's a small room. I mean, think of Bruce is on year 16 here. We got another year of Bruce, you think about how long, Devin's going into year 3, Mobley going into year 2. I'm sure that they're expecting on being kind of the fulcrum of the offense. So if you bring that talent in, it's all got to be copacetic, or else you can have what happened with Michi last year, where it didn't work. And now all of a sudden you've spent all this money and it didn't work and someone is not happy. I mean, I can't imagine being a college basketball coach right now. I think it's even much more difficult than football, because of the amount of the roster size and the impact one player can have positively or negatively. It can blow up your whole operation.
And for Ohio State, you got already culture, infrastructure, and identity in place. Jake Diebler's still trying to find his way, as this is going to be, this is his first full off season. It's going into the year 2 of this thing. And as much as they missed last year, you're kind of starting over again, it feels like. I mean, yes, you have Royal and Thornton and Michi back is huge. Getting those portal additions huge, but everybody's trying to deal with this. Like I looked at St. John's is making a ton of portal movement.
Yeah, they got a lot of money. I don't know where it all came from, but St. John's has a ton of money they're throwing around on that roster.
Kind of what happens when you get a guy like Rick Pitino, who's a proven commodity in college basketball, where you can get the big fish and you have more confidence that he's going to land and it's going to hit with him than you do an unproven commodity like Jake Diebler.
The Cavs game with the Heat last night was borderline unwatchable. Now, I heard for some of you it was actually unwatchable, right? On YouTube TV, it
was bad.
Okay, so tell me what happened, because I would with my inflated cable bill, one of the things that I benefit from is I can watch all this stuff. So I had no problems. But on YouTube TV, this was blacked out like throughout Ohio.
So blackout restrictions applied because it was on NBA TV or because it was being broadcast by NBA TV. But for YouTube TV, customers locally or customers in Ohio didn't get access to it because of blackout restrictions that the NBA's got in place with Bally, or I guess the artist formerly known as Bally Total Fitness Sports. It didn't make any sense. It was just blackout in your market.
Because there was a local broadcast, so you had to have like that app. Is that what they were hoping for? I don't understand how.
I gotta be honest, I don't either. I think it was a mistake.
Strange. Yeah, it sucks. I mean, you should be able to watch a playoff game. Figure that out.
Yeah, the NBA needs to step in and say, okay, this is one thing in the regular season, playoffs, absolutely not.
Well, I had been talking about it yesterday. If you're going to have this agreement with Turner and Max, have all the games available on Turner and Max on that app, and then make the games available wherever if you want people to watch your product, you've got to make it available. And that the idea that this nonsense from the regular season in terms of blackouts and local markets, that cannot continue into the postseason. You make it a whole new year.
Yeah, that's a bad job. I was able to watch. It was awful basketball. Awful. Now,
second quarter was fun.
Dude, the officiating made me want to throw myself through a window. The incompetence. Kenny Atkinson challenged what felt like 107 calls, and he got them all right. Every challenge he won, and it took forever.
Yeah, it was a long game.
Forever to do a challenge. They would go over there. At one point, Brad Daugherty and those guys on the call, John Michael, but Brad Daugherty on the call, they go to commercial. Another challenge, fourth quarter, another challenge. They go to commercial. They come back from commercial. They're still looking at the screens. Buddy, what are we doing?
It's like, Tony Brothers, you stink.
It was awful.
30 seconds.
Dude, fellas, it wrecked the flow. I don't know. Were you guys able to watch the game last night? Reese, were you able to find a place to watch?
I'm always able to watch these games.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, you
fret not.
Okay, very good. So you experienced this.
This was miserable. This was
like a 50-minute fourth quarter.
Yes, and Tyler Hero made it a 3-point game. It was like 105-103, which would be a 2-point game because math. They got tense. I'll tell you what, I was folding laundry during it because I needed something to do. And those folds in that fourth quarter were not great. I had to refold.
No, they came all the way back. And Miami's so well coached. They've had that group, Spolster's there. Our buddy Chris Quinn's been on that staff for a long time. Elite staff, and they're well coached, and they play till the end, and they did. But I thought the officiating really wrecked the flow.
And there's no incentive to get better or to hold them accountable to anything. Like they'll release their mea culpa
out there.
Yeah, you'd think they'll release their mea culpa today. Here's what we got wrong, and it could be like a CVS receipt. But then nothing will happen. Nothing will come from that.
Just prints forever. Has anyone ever done anything with those coupons? They just comes forever. I don't think I've done anything with them in like 6 years.
I've got a buddy's dad. Gets almonds for like nothing over there. Goes through all of them.
Good for him.
Oh, yeah? I know a guy who's getting almonds for nothing at CVS. Suck on that.
An almond guy.
Actually, it's cashews. My bad. Cashews, not almonds.
You can crush some cashews.
Giant Eagle's getting CVS ridiculous, too, with their receipts. Like, stop. Just don't even do the receipts.
Sheets is doing that, too.
Yeah, these long receipts with the incentives. It's getting out there. NFL draft is tonight. First round will be tonight. A lot of innuendo that there could be some big deals out there. To this point, there are none. We will get you the very latest coming up next in 2 minutes. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6759. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6759. That's 800-575-6759. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
At Uline, they know firsthand the road to success is an uphill climb. Uline started in the family basement, and through hard work is now North America's most trusted shipping and industrial supplier. They get what it means to have the support of reliable, hard-working partners. So they keep 41,000 items ready to ship. Whether your company is still in a basement office or expanding cross-country, Uline will be there on your road to success. Visit uline.com.
Everybody poops, everybody pees. Mommy, will you call Mr. Rooter, please? 'Cause I gotta poop and I gotta pee. Only Mr. Rooter can clear the drain for me. Thank you, Mr. Rooter.
Hi, everybody. We call it what it is at Mr. Rooter. When you have a plumbing or drain problem, the team at Mr. Rooter is ready 7 days a week. Call us today and take advantage of our $95 drain cleaning special. Visit us at MrRooter.com. We'll be there quick.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
What's up?
What's up, man? Super juice.
Sponsored by High Bank Distillery, home of the best blended whiskey in America. Grab a bottle or dine in at their 3 restaurant locations, Grandview, Gahanna, and now in Westerville. Drink local. Drink High Bank.
All right, here's what's up on an NFL Draft Thursday edition of the program. This is the first time in the modern era of the draft that every NFL team has their pick and there has been no trades. Full stop. Everyone's got their picks. They're picking where they're supposed to, and there have been no trades. Now, you've got time. The draft kicks off at 8 o'clock. First pick, I imagine, will be made somewhere around 8:14, something like that. My guess is the Browns will use their full time, and you're looking at 8:30 on that. Part of that is the NFL and NFL Network and ESPN. I think it was the Bears last year kind of let it slip that they were asked to not pick right away so that the drama could build to Caleb Williams. I get that with all of the picks after one, but to me, one should happen in the first couple of minutes. Like the first pick should happen in the first 5 minutes of the production, and then off we go. So to this point, there have been no deals made. There has been a lot of innuendo about deals. There's reporting this morning that the Pittsburgh Steelers could be in the trade business, could be George Pickens. Apparently unfollowed the Steelers on Instagram, which could mean any number of things. George Schultz had this to say: it's not just in their DNA to spend that much on 2 wideouts. Pickens is more available than people think. Green Bay's been serious, but they're not the only ones. I don't think that, just going back to the combine, there wasn't anybody who thought that Pickens wasn't available. I think that they are at their wits' end kind of with him, and it's probably could be time for him to go. So that would not surprise me at all if he was traded today. He's not going to net you a first-round pick in return.
And everybody should run. Chase Claypool.
Away or 2?
Le'Veon Bell, Antonio Brown, Mike Wallace. Like, everybody run. If the Steelers are done, it means that player is done for them. Like, they're not going to do anything for you.
It's the thing that's as timeless as anything in the NFL. Oh, he didn't work there? I can make it work here. Yeah. I can fix that.
Yeah.
Maybe Jordan Love can.
Yeah, if you can't survive and thrive in the Steelers culture, then it's going to be really hard for you everywhere else. To me, they are the most interesting team today. Is Pittsburgh at 21. It is the spot that Vegas has kind of identified as the sweet spot to bet the over-under on Shedeur Sanders. 21.5 is kind of that number. So there's that part of it. I just refuse to accept the notion that they don't know what's happening with Aaron Rodgers. I just don't believe it. I just don't think an organization that smart, that locked in, would go this far into the offseason process and into the draft without knowing if Aaron Rodgers is going to be a Pittsburgh Steeler. I just feel like they know. And whether he doesn't want to say it out loud, I have no idea. Maybe, is there a benefit to them knowing that he's signing there and the rest of the league not knowing it?
I don't see one.
Like trades on the draft. Like, if you know you're getting Rodgers, does that allow for people to think you're not getting a quarterback at 21? And so then folks won't trade up in front of you? Is this Pepe Sylvia? Am I connecting red strings? Is that where we're at here? I don't know.
But it's that weird kind of NFL draft thinking. right? Where everybody's nobody
trusts
trusts anybody. Everybody's out to get somebody. Like even Peter Schrager was on ESPN yesterday, and he's like, I don't trust anything the Patriots tell me. Like I don't believe a word that they say. And I think you can copy and paste that to the 31 other teams. I think the Steelers, maybe in their own little world, or Aaron Rodgers in his weird little world, somehow think that this would benefit them in some way, form, or fashion to not let things like that slip.
If you believe the guys on ESPN this morning, if that's the case with the Steelers, they may have overplayed their hand here because according to everybody that I'm seeing on the TV right now, Denver is getting all kinds of calls for people that want their pick to get in front of the Steelers.
Yeah, and, there's been – you don't know what to believe. Shedeur is such low-hanging fruit. It is just the easiest thing to debate, and it's been debated for 2.5 months to the point of to Schrager's point, I don't know who to believe on what anybody actually thinks about him. There are people who have him the number one quarterback. Bucky Brooks does. Jeff Risdon does. Has him number one overall.
Mel Kiper does, as of this morning.
Kiper still has him as the best quarterback in this draft. And then there's other people who have him like as the 20th overall player in this draft. Some people have him as like the 28th overall player. So he will be an interesting watch and follow. All indication, I mean, this is such a massive draft for Pittsburgh at 21, for Cincinnati. They're at 16 or 17?
17.
17. They've paid T. They've paid Jamar. They've paid Joe. They need to hit bigly at 17. Big time. Got to hit it. Got to hit in the second round. They need starters. They need starters coming in for Cincinnati.
We had that. I know you and James had the conversation. Was it Penei Sewell and Jamar Chase?
Yeah.
And I see mocks that have the Bengals taking an offensive tackle or an offensive lineman, maybe an interior guy. And I go, you got to get guys on defense. You're paying a lot of offense already. Like you need to get guys defensively that can play almost right away. That you don't have to pay a whole lot to do that.
They have failed so miserably on the offensive front drafting too. I mean, they just haven't landed on those picks. It's just a blind spot. Andrew Berry's got a bit of a blind spot when it comes to wide receiver, and I think the same is true. I mean, like the Bengals have a big blind spot when it comes to offensive line. They just do. So, yeah, I think they need defensive playmakers is what I think. That's where I would go if I'm Cincinnati.
The nice thing for Cincinnati is this is a super deep defensive line draft. Now, the bad thing for Cincinnati is the guy you want may not be there because some of the guys this morning are talking about there could be a run on defensive linemen here in the, when you get 8, 9, 10 through the teens, there may be a run on those guys. So there's a lot of really good ones in this draft, but you may not be able to get the one you want at 17 if things shake out that way.
All indications are the Browns are taking Travis Hunter at 2. Everyone's mocking it. They've talked glowingly about Travis Hunter so much as to compare him to Shohei Ohtani. So there's an affection between them and Travis Hunter that's very real. Reporting yesterday that part of the reason Travis Hunter ran routes in Colorado is because he thought Cleveland would want him to run routes on the pro day. So kind of give you an idea that there's more than just a flirtation there. Denzel Ward available yesterday up in Cleveland and said that, he had taken calls with Travis and he'd be willing to work out with him, almost like it was already done that they were drafting Travis Hunter. So there's a lot of momentum to that. There is reporting out there that obviously a Godfather offer, and Schrager talked about that. And of course, they're going to pick up the phone if people call. What would constitute that? What would constitute a Godfather offer for number 2 overall? I mean, there was rumor of like, all right, for 2, the Dallas Cowboys give you Micah Parsons in the 12th overall. Like, if you're the Browns, can you do that? Are you going to have $40 million a year in 2 defensive ends?
I was just about to say, what are they going to pay?
Because you're going to have to redo the deal with Parsons, and it's going to have to be in the vicinity of Miles.
I think I want more draft compensation.
If you're throwing all this stuff at the wall, like what constitutes Godfather? To me, the only thing I could think of is if somehow some quarterback became available that I didn't previously think.
Could it be, say, the Jaguars offer 5 and Trevor Lawrence?
I would do Lawrence for 2, wouldn't you?
Yeah,
I would.
I could
do Trevor
be
Lawrence
talked
for 2.
into that.
So if they offer Trevor and the 5th pick, right?
Forget 5. I'd just give me 2. Just give me Trevor for 2. I'm in.
So maybe that's the kind of play.
Yeah, I don't know what that would be. I also think because of their salary cap issues and having to pay Watson and Miles already, they're not very nimble when it comes to what they're able to do in terms of taking on salary. So we'll see what happens there. They're going to pick up the phone if you call for sure. They're going to listen to everyone. They've said, and Kevin Stefanski reiterated it yesterday in his availability, and Andrew Berry said it last week, the general manager, we're going to use the full shot clock on this. So they're going to have all day today. They'll have the first 30 minutes of the draft to make their selection. I think it's 15 minutes between picks, or is it 10?
I thought it was 10.
I think it's 10, yeah.
Is it 10?
It feels like 25. Especially when the commissioner goes up there and asks for booze. We just need to stop that.
Yeah, just keep it moving.
First person up on that draft board or on that draft stage should be a Titans representative with the number 1 overall pick.
I agree with you at number 1. I understand how you got to build drama because it's a TV show, right? Shefty talked about that with Rothman and Ice yesterday about how, look, I know things, but a lot of times I'm aware that this is a television production. And you've got to lean into that a little bit. So I understand you got to have some time to talk to the new pick. Then you got to, have some expert analysis on what the next pick could be. So I get all of that. And I don't think you need to race up there with every pick. But I do think on the first one, show kicks off at 8. By 8:05, Titans, Cam Ward, and then 10 minutes for the Browns to pick at 2.
A couple things, Bo, on some Buckeyes. You're hearing Travion Henderson. A lot of momentum for him, maybe getting into the first round, possibly Denver at 20. And it sounds like the Chiefs are very interested in him, which we said all along would be perfect for him. Yeah. It sounds like Donovan Jackson is rising up some draft boards too. And I've heard that the Pittsburgh Steelers are very interested in, from things I read this morning, Will Howard.
Well, that's funny because Andrew Filpponi was saying no Howard, no chance, no matter what. So who knows? I mean, it's just such silly season. But to your point, the one that, as you're doing that with Travion at 20, if the Steelers know they have Rodgers, imagine and you're trading Pickens and you draft a Mecca at 21.
Oh, don't even put that in the atmosphere.
Now all of a sudden, that's the stuff that can happen today. So. We'll keep you up to speed on things throughout the day as we inch closer to the NFL draft tonight. All right, a federal judge said not so fast to the NCAA. How big of a sticking point is this? We will get to that story coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
We're the highest rated sports radio station in America. There's no joke there. We just are. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Going up. Prices keep going up these days. It feels like being on an elevator that only goes up. Going up. But not at Metro. We're pushing the down button. Going down. We've lowered prices and give you a 5-year price guarantee on talk, text, and data. Get one line of 5G data for $40. Period. That's 20% lower. Only at Metro.
5-year guarantee on eligible plans. Exclusions apply. See website for details. Not available at Metro with T-Mobile in the past 6 months. Tax applies.
That's are us. When dreams don't get in, that's are us.
Right now, get $1,500 off a shower or tub replacement or $3,000 off a full bathroom remodel, plus low to no monthly payments. Call 380-225-BATH to schedule your free estimate or go to bathsareus.com. 380-225-BATH.
That's are us. When dreams don't get in, that's are us.
Do you suffer from leg pain, leg swelling, varicose veins, or leg ulcers? Dr. Barry Zeta and Dr. Joseph Senta at Ohio Vein and Vascular Polaris are pioneers in the vein and vascular field. Dr. Zeta and Dr. Senta can perform minimally invasive procedures that will get you back on track to a pain-free life. Stop living with leg pain and start the process to healthy living with a free healthy leg screening. Go to loveyourveins.com or call 614-324-VEIN. That's 614-324-VEIN or loveyourveins.com.
Many drugs, like cocaine, methamphetamine, and non-prescription pills, are often cut with dangerous opioids like fentanyl. As a result, nearly 14 Ohioans die daily from unintentional overdoses. That's why it's important to carry naloxone, such as Narcan, a life-saving medication that blocks the effects of fentanyl and other opioids. Over the last 5 years, naloxone has saved over 83,000 lives. Help save lives and visit naloxone.ohio.gov to learn more and find free naloxone. Remember, if you see an overdose occurring, always call 911.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. Guys, listen up. How many of you out there have been diagnosed with sleep apnea? Maybe your partner can't tolerate your snoring every night. You can't stand your CPAP machine. I totally get it. But the good news is there are alternatives to the CPAP machine. And Dr. Mark Levy is here to change your sleep and your life. Trust me, your spouse will thank you later. Dr. Mark Levy can customize an oral appliance that opens your airways, helps you breathe better, and, of course, stops your snoring. That's the main point. It's quick and comfortable and an alternative to those bulky, loud CPAP machines you always hear about. For over 15 years, Dr. Mark Levy has led the way when it comes to treating snoring and sleep apnea, and now he's expanding his practice to better serve his patients with a brand new location in Marysville. I love Marysville. If you're snoring and not sleeping, you need to call Dr. Mark Levy's office today. Do not delay. Schedule your appointment today with Dr. Mark Levy at 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. That's 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. You can also visit him online at sleepbettercolumbus.com. And now, sleepbettermarysville.com too.
Most radio stations suck. Here's why. They don't invest in local programming. We're live and local 14 hours a day. You can rest assured that every stupid thing we say is 100% local. Homegrown dumb since day one. The Fan.
Quarterback Jordan Love isn't just on Green Bay's team. He's also on the American Family Insurance team. Because like us, he believes in dreaming fearlessly.
Just chase your dreams and don't let nobody hold you back.
And we help protect those dreams with the right coverage so you can
dream fearlessly.
American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Well, here we are again, and I got to tell you, Jim, this match has me really concerned.
Here we have a powerful heavyweight, a train, weighing in at 6,000 tons. And this hasty lightweight challenger, a car, at just 1.5 tons.
This does not bode well for the car or the people in it.
It's no contest. Every day, people are injured or killed trying to beat a train at rail crossings. See tracks, think train.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Columbus, Worthington, Air, and Bryant. Doing whatever it takes to keep you and your home comfortable. The Fan.
Our top men are working on everything except this show.
We have top men working on it right now. Who? Top men.
You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, I acknowledge that this is a tricky talk. It's tricky for me because there's a lot of nuance to it. There's a lot of kind of gray area. There's a lot of lawyer speak in it. And the I'm referring to is this House case that NCAA schools are banking on to provide them guardrails in regard to the settlement that would provide them guardrails going forward with NIL, how to govern it, how to manage it, what rules that they can apply. Now, what the NCAA is trying to do, and by NCAA, it's always important to remember that the NCAA is the presidents and the universities and the athletic directors and the conference commissioners. That's who they are. There's Big Bad Guy who's the boss of the NCAA, but he answers to the conferences, he answers to the programs, he answers to the presidents and the ADs. Like, so that's what they want, is they hope for this settlement to take place, write a really big check to a bunch of people in a class action, and then they want the ability for the federal government to give them the ability to actually govern the sport the way that they want. But what they want is to govern the sport without making them professional athletes. They want to give them money, but they don't really want to have anything beyond that. And they want the money limited and all of these things. And one of the things that they really want in this is roster, a bit of a roster limits in terms of the size of the limits of the roster. So not just scholarships, but also like how many people they have to pay and how many people can be on the team, those type of things. So yesterday was a big day because a federal judge told the NCAA and the members that she would not approve the multi-billion-dollar antitrust settlement that is expected to reshape the business of college sports unless they change a proposed policy for limiting roster size. So the judge said the NCAA's insistence on immediately implementing roster limits would cause some college athletes to lose their spot in their current teams, and that she could not approve a settlement that would cause harm to some members of the plaintiff's class. She wrote that she did not have issues with any other parts of the proposed settlement, and that the court tentatively finds it would grant final approval to the remainder of the settlement if the roster limit issue is resolved. There's a line she had here. Those class members will be harmed because their roster spot will be or has been taken away as a result of immediate implementation of the settlement agreement. Continues. Here's one from the she had another one here that I'm looking for where she really spanked him and said, "This is your own."
Yes. Any disruption that may occur is a problem of defendants and NCAA member schools' own making.
There you go.
That's the chair shot to the head.
That's it. You made the bed, sleep in it. But it's got fleas and bed bugs.
You put them there, or you allowed them to grow and cultivate.
Do your laundry.
Just wash your sheets once in a while.
Right.
I love that they say they want the roster limits in place to make it more fair. Well, it's never going to be fair, right?
No.
There's not an exact, every school has this amount of sports that are under this umbrella, and any other sports that you have are outside of that umbrella, and they're going to be club sports and whatnot. We can try to make this as fair as we want, but it's never going to be all the way fair.
No, there is no fair. It's the biggest class system in America. Is college sports. These things are not all the same. It's always been nonsense that one governing body tried to rule Ohio State the same way that it ruled Ohio Wesleyan. Go Battling Bishops, by the way. That's just not possible to do that. Those two things have very little in common other than both being institutions of higher learning that are located in the state of Ohio. That's it. There's not much else. So, it just was never going to be the case. And I think the one common denominator you're going to see on this is this is not going to be some panacea. It's not. This is going to be, I think they hope it'll provide some things. I think it'll provide some things for about a week. And then I think it'll all just go to hell, because what's going to end up happening is you're going to have lawsuit upon lawsuit upon lawsuit. And the same thing that's happening here in this isn't even a court case. This is a settlement, guys. They're not even this isn't court, which is
this is to avoid everybody going to court.
Avoid that.
Although, to the lawyers, you think that's a pretty nice paycheck that would kind of refresh every quarter if you're going to court for this case, for the next case, for the case after that.
So, we'll see. To me, I say what I've been saying all along. Short of calling it professional sports, I see no end to this anytime soon, and it being collectively bargained. Other than that, I think you're trying to put limitations on college athletes that aren't there on other college students, and that's why you lose over and over again.
The nice thing with this settlement is the judge gave them their answer to get this settled. She's like, I will go with a grandfathered in thing. Slowly implement the roster limits. Just don't take spots away from any kids currently. It's almost like the face shield in hockey. There's only one guy now that doesn't have it because they've grandfathered it in. Just grandfather these limits in, get this settlement done, and then you guys can be on to your next court battle.
It's also the most NCAA thing to have someone else do the work for them.
Yeah, they don't want to do it themselves. No, they don't want to do it. That's not it. I will tell you this. There aren't many things I would say we're great on this show, but one thing we're really good at, other than betting, we did very good picking football games against the number. You want us to identify the hotel that the College Football Playoff Committee is staying at in their spring meetings? Oh, we'll knock that out of the park. I believe we had this. Did you see this in the meat of the story? College Football Playoff annual spring meeting, Ritz-Carlton near Dallas.
You're the first person I thought of when I saw it.
I believe we had that.
Living nice.
Yeah.
There's just not enough money.
Marriott points, boys.
Who do you think controls? Is that with an 80, he has the card, or how do those get dispersed? I wonder.
I don't know.
Who books that?
Great question.
The travel agent?
All right. Ritz-Carlton, Dallas. Lovely. Let's check our availability. All right. We are deluxe king room guests.
Yeah, the nice one.
$9.99 a night. $7.49 a night for a nice Tuesday, Wednesday.
Nothing at the Bishop household.
Not even a weekend trip, fellas. Those aren't weekend rates. It's not spring break rates.
So they go on a Tuesday or a Wednesday.
Tuesday, Wednesday rates. Jeez. It just drips with hypocrisy, all of it.
Throw in the lobster and caviar, too.
How many what's the hotel bar tab on that at that joint? I mean, that's just fantastic. So we'll see if anything comes of it. But whatever does come of it, understand it's a paper tiger. It'll be lit on fire, and you'll have to start all over again shortly thereafter. Second hour of the program coming up next. Paul Finebaum on all of this at 10:30. Your emails coming up next. Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
We are your radio home for the Buckeyes, Browns, and all the NFL games you can handle. We may have a bit of a football problem. Oh, yeah? The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Get Eco.
ECO. Hey, Aaron. Hey, Jerry. You know how annoyed people get when they worry about their sump pump? Ah, the sump pump grump.
Get Eco.
ECO. They try whacking it to see if it'll start. A technique known as the sump pump thump, I believe. Or they feel around to see if something inside is clogged. That would be a sump pump clump.
Get Eco.
ECO. But the last thing they want is to be caught in a rainstorm or a snowmelt with the flooded basement because the stupid thing didn't work. No one wants to be a sump pump chump, Aaron. That's why we have the $89 sump pump inspection. We check your pump, your battery backup, and all the downspouts and drains along the way to make sure everything is running clear. All that for just one small sump pump lump sum. Absolutely. Shouldn't you be out inventing things? I'm in a bit of a slump.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Get Eco.
ECO. Eco plumbers, electricians, and HVAC technicians. GetEco.com.
At Uline, they know going the extra mile takes hard work. For companies pushing to go further, Uline will go the distance with you. 24/7, they answer the phone to get you the shipping and industrial supplies you need. Business can move fast. Unexpected large orders, adverse weather, new safety guidelines, and changing economic trends. Uline works hard keeping 41,000 items ready to ship, minimizing detours on your way to the extra mile. Visit uline.com.
I can't wait to meet her. Oh my gosh.
Put your hands together for new Dr. Pepper Blackberry and Dr. Pepper Blackberry Zero Sugar.
There she is! Woohoo! Yeah! It's full Dr. Pepper!
With sweet blackberry flavor!
Dr. Pepper Blackberry, I'm obsessed with your succulent taste. Please marry me!
No! Marry me! Marry me, or I'm gonna freak out!
Try new Dr. Pepper Blackberry.
It's a pepper thing!
Okay, so I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. Wendy's has this new Cajun Crunch chicken sandwich. And to be honest, I'm kind of crushing hard on this Sammy. It's packed with bold Cajun flavors and topped with crispy onions for a satisfying crunch. All on Wendy's iconic spicy chicken sandwich. It's honestly kind of my dream sandwich. I hope it likes me back. For a sandwich you'll love, gotta be Wendy's. Open till midnight or later.
Limited time only at participating U.S. Wendy's. Hours may vary by location.
Thinking about buying your first home? Now, with Third Federal, you can buy your first home and pay no PMI. Hi, I'm Mark Stefanski, Chairman and CEO of Third Federal. Private mortgage insurance, or PMI, can cost thousands of dollars over the life of your loan. And you may not realize PMI doesn't protect you. It only protects the lender in case of default. But at Third Federal, you can buy a home with just 5% down and no PMI. Plus, first-time home buyers get $750 off a closing cost. So if you're thinking about buying your first home, go for it and visit thirdfederal.com.
Even before you find a home, lock in 6.625%, APR 6.685% on a 30-year fixed-rate purchase mortgage. Visit thirdfederal.com or call 1-800-3RD-FED today. APR reflects 15% down for $350,000 loan amount. Rate requires automatic payment program and is subject to change. Restrictions apply. See conditions for closing cost coupon at thirdfederal.com/FTHB. Equal housing lender.
It's the final days of Diamonds Direct's annual spring sale. This is your last chance to get an extra 20% off our already renowned prices. Plus, book an appointment and get an additional $100 off your purchase. But hurry, these savings end soon. And this weekend only, we're open Sunday to give you an extra day to shop our expanded selection of trending engagement ring settings, his and hers wedding bands, must-have fine jewelry, and more. Time is running out. 20% off, store-wide savings. Visit diamondsdirect.com for details.
The sports calendar is heating up, and with ESPN Bet Sportsbook, you can go from checking news to stats to placing bets in a couple of taps. Stream games, bet live, and get exclusive offers when you link your ESPN account. Right now, you can get $100 in bonus bets when you make your first $10 wager. Download the ESPN Bet app and sign up with promo code USL to get started today. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details. Offer not available in New York.
Evan Cohen here. Picture this. You arrive at your hotel. You have an important online meeting lined up with clients from all across the country. You have your laptop open. You're ready to begin. And the Wi-Fi is so terrible, you can't even connect. These types of stressful situations happen all the time, but they don't have to. When you book a room at La Quinta by Wyndham, you have access to their free high-speed Wi-Fi. So you can take care of those critical emails, join your meetings on time, and even unwind streaming your favorite shows without having to worry. Tonight, La Quinta. Tomorrow, you shine. Book direct at LQ.com.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. The NFL Draft starts tonight in Green Bay. The Titans are on the clock with the number 1 overall pick. The Browns will select it, too, for the first time since 2021. Cleveland's got a first-round pick since Greg Newsome in 2021. The Cincinnati Bengals have the 17th overall selection. We'll have live draft coverage on the Fan starting at 7 o'clock. In college football, the transfer portal closes Friday. The Buckeyes landed defensive end Bo Atkinson on Wednesday. The 6'6", 265 former Tar Heel picked Ohio State over Georgia and South Carolina. He'll have 2 seasons of eligibility left. The college basketball portal is closed. Aaron Bradshaw committed to Memphis on Thursday. In the NBA last night, the Cavs beat the Heat 121-112. Donovan Mitchell led with 30 points, 7 of 12 from the three-point line. Cleveland now leads 2-0 in their first-round playoff series. Miami's going to host Game 3 on Saturday. This update sponsored by Whiskey War by High Bank Distillery. Drink local, drink High Bank.
If you love a good pie analogy,
think of the cap as a pie, and once you take out one piece, there's less left for the next guy.
then this is the radio show for you. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, Paul Finebaum coming up in 28 minutes from now. Between now and then, time to open up that mailbag. Hit it, fellas.
Our comment box is always open. Any feedback is mostly appreciated.
The mail never stops. It just keeps coming and coming and coming. There's never a let-up. It's relentless. Every day it piles up more and more and more, and you got to get it up. And the more you get out, the more it keeps coming in.
Bishop and Friends present emails.
Boy, a ton of them today. A lot of good ones. Let's start with Rodney. The subject is draft. Rodney writes, my worst memory was the Browns drafting Mike Junkin instead of Shane Conlon, the former Penn State linebacker for the kids out there. Junkin was a big fail. I'll tell you the one that, from the Browns' perspective, the draft pick that I thought when they picked it would be a can't miss and ended up being the biggest miss was Trent Richardson. I saw no scenario where Trent Richardson would not be a great player. I just didn't see a scenario where he would not be, at minimum, like I don't know if I thought he would be the best running back in the NFL, but I thought he'd be 80-90% of Adrian Peterson and be like a consistent 1,200-yard, 8 touchdown. I thought he'd be Nick Chubb, honestly. Like, if you're looking for, like, the comparison, I thought he'd be Nick Chubb. That's the one that, in terms of what I thought when they picked him versus the reality of it, that one was probably the biggest. What was your most excited draft moment that fell flat?
I think it was Jabril Peppers, at least for the Cleveland Browns. Everything else I kind of saw with reservation. Like, I thought Trent Richardson might be, for me, more so than Peppers, because I just thought there's a guy that's going to pop right away. Mm-hmm. And I thought he's going to, I didn't think Richardson was going to have a long career. Same thing with Peppers, but I thought in their first couple of seasons they were going to contribute, and they were going to contribute right away and be big for the Cleveland Browns. They were not.
Maybe it was because it was their first draft back, but I was pretty excited about Tim Couch. I thought, man, maybe not this year, but maybe the Browns have something with this guy moving forward. And then another one, Bo, that you thought was a can't miss and it sure missed was Courtney Brown.
Yeah, that was Courtney Brown injury.
Maybe a little bit. He just didn't ever perform very well at the next level.
So they went, because it was like Tim Couch, Courtney Brown, Gerard Warren. All
the big D tackle
out of Florida, yeah. All those guys. The one thing I would say on Couch, though, he's probably the poster child for, in a different circumstance, like just swap him and Donovan McNabb in that draft. Just say that the Browns take McNabb at 1. Remember, the Bengals took Achilles Smith at 2. So let's say you take Donovan McNabb at 1 and Tim Couch goes to Philly. What's his life like? It's still pretty good. He married Heather Kozar, who was Playmate of the Year and is the voice of the Kentucky football operation, and he's won. He's winning it. He's won at life. But at the same time, like, how is it different if he just goes to Philly? Because I think him and David Carr are the two best examples of guys who were drafted by expansion franchises that were wrecked by the situations where they just got bludgeoned, and you'd never know. This one from Zach, the subject is NIL. He addresses me Bishop. Fair. With the recent Nico situation, I've been trying to wrap my head around if there is an answer to this. I personally love NIL. Players work a ton to get to the point that they are at, and they should be paid. But with NIL, I feel like there should be limits. Either a limit of NIL from the school and keeping the transfer portal, or eliminating the transfer portal. I love the idea of a player being able to go somewhere and not being punished or missing out on eligibility, but this is just getting ridiculous. Thank you, go Bucks. Yeah, Zach, if you listen regularly, it sounds like you do. There's only one fix, and it's pro sports. It's collectively bargained. It's contracts. It's the NFL model. That's it. If you listen to Urban and Saban and anybody around the sport, they will all say that's where we're at. There isn't any other way, because when you start doing what you're saying, which is limiting NIL, how are you going to govern that, and how is that a correct path versus every other student who's on campus? If your kid's in a band, you're not going to limit what he can make for playing a show. So why would you limit what a college football player could make for doing an appearance? It's just, there's no scenario. But if you allow them to be paid, then I don't think you will get the NIL issues that you're having.
I know that we can't go back, but I feel like if they just would have given the players a stipend and then let them go get whatever they can on their own, I think this would have been a lot better. But as you said, the universities, the football coaches, they want to control it all and who gets what.
Yeah, I think if you do salary, then the onus won't fall on the boosters the way that it is now. It's that simple, I think. I know that's complicated, but it is a simple answer to a very, very complicated issue. This one from John. The subject, and anytime I see something like this, I perk up. The subject is Coyotes and college football leadership kicking the can.
Oh, baby.
Fantastic.
Wow.
He writes, I wish I had better news for your neighborhood and coyotes. In our neighborhood in Maine, seeing a family of foxes cutting through the yard or a coyote peeking through the woods during our evening walks with our newfies and kid were a big deal until the empty nesters started selling and the precious children cat rat dog generation moved in. That's a great line. That's a great line. The neighborhood Facebook page was full of safety drama. Oh, baby, don't I know it. Every animal has rabies and will attack. We thought a few Fisher cats and coyotes were good for the ecosystem to take care of the unlicensed cats and the yapping rat dogs. If this happened in Maine, it must be 10 times worse in Columbus. Your comments on college football overpaid leaders are always spot on. I was 25 years old when I finally figured out just someone has a nice job title doesn't mean they're competent, and you can make a lot of money in corporate America kicking the can. Keep up the message before college football turns into baseball for me. Cheers. That's a fantastic email. I've never heard that labeled that way. Precious children, cat, rat, dog generation. That's great.
I felt that for some reason.
That was so good. And the neighborhood Facebook pages and group texts, that'll make me throw myself through a window.
Why would anybody be connected to one of those?
Well,
dude.
Aren't any? Bo, are you? Or
I'm not, but they tag me in them. And somebody has my email or my phone number. The neighborhood has my phone number because I was on the HOA. So there is like a neighborhood group chat that I get texts from, and it'll be like I just spotted this and this. Watch out. Keep your dogs in. I'm like, Buddy Gary's 85 pounds. No coyotes going at him. Promise you. Absolutely promise you that.
That sounds miserable, Bo.
And it's one you can't leave, right?
HOA group text. Oh, my gosh.
Oh, dude, it's...
Because if they have the Android phone and it's part like you see the green, if you're an iPhone user, I don't think you can escape it.
I think I'd rather go sit on a cactus.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. That's a better win. Speaking of Buddy, Ryan with this, Buddy getting smoked. I used to work residential parcel delivery for 11 years, including rural areas where often dogs were out and about. I'm also a dog owner myself. I quickly learned 90% of dogs will be friendly if you act like you're supposed to be there and treat them like your pet. And of course, treats in hand are always a big help. Well, the Amazon driver handled this in possibly the worst way. It is the homeowner's responsibility to secure the animals. That was my contention as well, that it's on us. Many large landowners on my route would place large plastic bins just up the driveway a little bit for their packages. I'd actually thought about that. I personally love seeing the dogs on my route. They always made the day much more enjoyable. However, I love dogs, and I know some do not. One thing to consider is Buddy possibly having a little trauma from this experience and may be much more defensive toward delivery drivers now and thus quicker to act non-accordingly. Enjoy the show. I'm glad to hear nothing more severe happened with the driver or Buddy. Also, sleeper pick for the Browns, Ashton Genty. I don't think that will be the sleeper pick for the Browns, but I appreciate the rest of it. I was worried about that too, but then I realized like Buddy has, from what I can tell, he has very little memory in terms of traumatic events happening to him. I mean, he just kind of bounces around like a big golden who just is in a good mood all the time. Is kind of his whole operation. He is, ever since he did grab that bunny and he became a murder dog, I will say that when he sees one of those guys, he takes off in a hurry to grab one.
Now he's on the hunt.
Last night he tried, and that thing zigzagged. It was this bunny was the anti-Brand Stark. So instead of just running in a straight line as Buddy was coming down on him, he just zigzagged, and his ability to zigzag, Buddy Garrity had no chance. He fell all over himself. It was a mess. Absolute mess. We do have a good one that I want to get to from Chad. He needs our help. We will get to that one coming up next. Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
The only workplace in America to participate in the Doorknob Fart Game. And we also play office basketball and sometimes do radio. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Hear that? That's the sound of saving a good deal more when you shop with M-Perks at Meijer. Some delicious blueberries, money saved. A creamy treat of cookie dough ice cream, that's money saved. Savings, savings, savings. Because every dollar spent is also 10 points earned in M-Perks, which you can use to save on your next grocery trip or up to $1 off per gallon on your next tank of gas. At Meijer, we work hard to help you save a good deal more for a whole lot less. That's bringing more good to life. Exclusions apply. See mperks.com for details.
Military veterans and active duty service members, you could become a certified cyber warrior with just 12 weeks of training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, and IT pros with these skills often enjoy abundant opportunity and a great lifestyle. Protect our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. SkillBridge and other VA benefits are available to those who qualify. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP.
When you join the plus side with AAA, that's all you'll have to do. Or you could learn to change your own tire.
Hey fam, what's up? Today I'm gonna teach you to change a flat. Before we start, make sure it's not raining, or hailing, or lightning.
Skip the hard work. On the plus side, get more with AAA. Go to AAA.com/plus side.
And the top overall pick in this year's draft is the ESPN Bet Sportsbook at Hollywood Casino Columbus. That's right, it's number one in my heart. This is Scotty Vegas, and we're hosting a special draft show and watch party starting at 7 p.m. Thursday, April 24th for the first round of the draft. Watch and place wagers on the picks with over 30 kiosks, contests, prizes, and a live show at 7 at the ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older to enter. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Everybody poops, everybody pees. Mommy, will you call Mr. Rooter, please? 'Cause I gotta poop and I gotta pee. Only Mr. Rooter can clear the drain for me. Thank you, Mr. Rooter.
Hi, everybody. We call it what it is at Mr. Rooter. When you have a plumbing or drain problem, the team at Mr. Rooter is ready 7 days a week. Call us today and take advantage of our $95 drain cleaning special. Visit us at MrRooter.com. We'll be there quick.
Many drugs, like cocaine, methamphetamine, and non-prescription pills, are often cut with dangerous opioids like fentanyl. As a result, nearly 14 Ohioans die daily from unintentional overdoses. That's why it's important to carry naloxone, such as Narcan, a life-saving medication that blocks the effects of fentanyl and other opioids. Over the last 5 years, naloxone has saved over 83,000 lives. Help save lives and visit naloxone.ohio.gov to learn more and find free naloxone. Remember, if you see an overdose occurring, always call 911.
This promo is for anyone who likes baseball or America or Terry Francona's scooter. The Reds are on the Fan. Catch all 162 games here on the Fan and 1460 ESPN Columbus and the Fan's HD2. Your home for Reds baseball, the Fan.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy houses as is, fast for cash. Call me today for an all-cash offer on any of your properties, and we can close within days at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Do you own a property that's outdated and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, I'll buy it. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Would it be convenient for you if you could simply take what you wanted and leave the rest behind? Great, I'll buy it. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family, apartment buildings, rental portfolios. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. Call TurboTrack Realty today for an all-cash offer and speak with one of our friendly staff members at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Hey there, Central Ohio. I'm 10 Weather Impact meteorologist Michael Behrens. Pop-up showers and storms possible this afternoon of highs in the low 80s. Those rain chances end tonight as the sun goes down, low 60s. 70s Friday, mostly dry to start, but rain chances increase in the afternoon, peaking for the evening and overnight. Back to dry weather this weekend. That's your latest 10 Weather Impact forecast. I'm meteorologist Michael Behrens on 97.1 The Fan.
The two most mature people working at the radio station. And that's just because they wear pants. The pervert and the skivvies. Rodman and Ice.
Weekdays at noon.
The Fan. If you say something with enough confidence, it must be true. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Indeed you are, and as always, we are proud to be sponsored by our great friends at Diamond Cellar, your true jeweler for over 78 years. Back to the mailbag. Some more good ones here that we had to get to. Let's start with this one. This is from Chad. So he needs our help. Chad needs our help a little bit. For the past few football seasons, I've been playing a game. I have 3 schools that mean something to me, and on a weekend where all 3 win, I treat myself with a special drink. The teams are always the same, although the bottle changes every year. So he's a student at Ohio State and Florida, was an instructor at the Naval Academy. So those are my 3. This year I'm thinking about adding Bowling Green, as my dad, who's an alum, and I are really excited about Eddie George. I try to make the bottle special too, one I like, such as Talisker or Lafroig. Sometimes a favorite of my parents, such as Johnny Walker Black. For my dad, or Tanqueray for my mom, who was a fan of it when she was alive. I haven't decided on a bottle for this upcoming season yet, and I was thinking of one, and I thought I'd get your thoughts as you're an expert in both college football and bottles. So I'm interested. If you were to pick 3 teams in a bottle, what would they be? Also, any suggestions on a bottle for me? I'll be visiting family up in Cleveland next month, and I'm thinking about picking a bottle of High Bank Up as your advertising is working. Well, good. It should. It's great stuff. Thanks for the shows. I appreciate what you do. High Bank would be great. High Bank Bourbon would be great. The Batch 2 dropped this week. You could probably scoop one of those up. I think on that, find what you like. So the 3 teams for me on this would be Ohio State, Florida State, Montana State, because one is near and dear to the heart. They're all near and dear to my heart in various parts of my life. Those would probably be the 3 I would do, and when they all won. Now, if the Florida State losses would have stacked a lot last year, what would your 3 be? 3 college football teams.
So I would go Ohio State. I have always kind of had an affinity for Marshall ever since the Chad Pennington, Randy Moss era. And then I would have to go the Kansas Jayhawks, since my buddy lives out in Kansas City now. His wife is an alum of Kansas. I kind of follow the Jayhawks a little bit. I've been to the campus there, so that would be my 3rd.
All right. Very good.
So playing NCAA 2004, I was the Pittsburgh Panthers. Won a lot of national championships with Larry Fitzgerald. So for them, I'm a light beer guy, so I do Icy Light for Pittsburgh. For Ohio State, I'm getting garage beer. For Ohio University, Miller Lite.
Gosh, that's perfect. All of those win. This one from Kevin. He writes, the subject is gotta call you out. Love the show every day, but I have to call you out on two things from First Friday's Hey Guys. Number one, how can you forget the Chargers Powder Blues? Just because they have no home or fans doesn't mean they don't have the best uniform in the NFL by far. It's very good.
It is a solid one.
It's very good. It's a little bit of a cheat code, but it's very good. And you mentioned your weekly Sunday trips to both Costco and then the grocery store. But in a previous Higher Lower segment, you greatly knocked Trader Joe's grocery store ranking because it wasn't a one-stop shop. I think you owe the folks at Trader Joe's an apology. There isn't much I can't get on my weekly combined Costco and Trader Joe's runs. Maybe I'll have to reconsider. I don't know. I just find that I can't get everything I need there. They've got some niche products. But I need a supermarket, baby.
I love the word you just used with that, niche. I think
I don't know if I need an organic burrito. I mean that's kind of what I assimilate with associate with Trader Joe's is like this little prepackaged stuff that I heat up and I like it. It's good. It's just I don't think I can do everything there.
Well, I can get it all at Meijer. I go into Meijer, I can get everything I need, no matter what that is.
They also have my ice cream at Meijer.
Yes, they do. By the way, I opened the cookies and cream.
How about that mouthfeel?
It was pretty good. I'm not going to lie. I wish the chunks of cookie were a little bigger.
Okay.
But good taste. Very nice.
The mouth feels really nice on that. Go ahead, Reese.
The thing with Trader Joe's is the aisles are narrow, and there's a certain flow that you have to follow to make sure that everything goes smoothly. In rare occurrences, does it ever go smoothly because people do not follow the flow at Trader Joe's?
It's very difficult to turn around.
The one on Sawmill Road is chaos all of the time, every day.
You're like John Rambo walking in there. Like, you got to put on the headband. You better have a crossbow. Like, that place.
I'm not above taking a machete into a...
It's so tight. It is. It's a good point out of you. The flow there is just not as clean as it needs to be. This one from Steve. All right. Not sure if this will work for an email, but he had a topic actually for, hey, guys. Here's his question. This week or any other time you might want to address it. If and when the Browns move to Brook Park, what name would you give them if the Haslams had the courage to fully rebrand the team in course of such a transformative move? His is the Cleveland Firewater. Cleveland recognizing the regionalization of the team in Brook Park, going from the airport destination. Plus, the Guardians' Clee uniforms are already a favorite of his. Firewater, paying homage to the lore of Cuyahoga burning decades ago and pints of firewater consumed on game day. Just think of the possible colors and images. Think of the money homage could make on the new T-shirts. As a 50-plus year fan, he's hoping the funding falls through for the new stadium. Bill Nelson was a quarterback when I started watching. The Phipps years were the worst until the Watson debacle. He also has some issues with the playing outdoor games and all of that. The Cleveland Browns are an outdoor team, grass and brown dirt stains. If you sanitize it, moving it inside, just give the team a whole new identity. If they did, what would you call it? They're not going to. No, the Cleveland Browns are such an iconic, recognizable brand. I think when they came back the first time, if they would have done it then, you maybe could have. I don't even think that was in consideration. I just think they are so beloved with that brand up there. I thought about, because there was like the Canton Bulldogs were an NFL team like 100 years ago. Would that have been something? Cleveland Bulldogs, would that have been something they could have played on? I don't know. But I just think it's such a specific branding. I don't know how you could ever do it any other way better.
There was no way, and I don't think there is a way. I appreciate the imagination. Firewater is, I think, cinnamon schnapps.
Yes.
Is it?
And so that brings back memories that I don't wish to relive. Because artificial cinnamon, that's what it tastes like. And so if you're not a fan of Big Red Chew, that's not the liqueur for you.
No.
It would have to have been in the 60s and 70s, you rebrand the Cleveland Browns. If it didn't happen then, it wasn't going to happen in 99, and it sure as heck isn't going to happen when that dome gets built however it gets financed or funded.
Yeah.
It has to be orange and brown. Like, thankfully, they got away from, like, the 15s. We talked about we were talking about uniforms yesterday, and the garbage ones they had in 15 and 16. They brought them back to what they're supposed to look like. Orange and brown's not a sexy color combination, but because of the iconic history of the franchise, for better or for worse, this is what you've got.
It's interesting. I wonder if there was any consideration when they fired Paul Brown, if there was any consideration to change it then. Because they're just named after Paul Brown. Like, did Modell give any consideration to changing it?
I've never heard of any, but
me either.
Not that I know of.
Reese, I feel like I would.
Reese, you talk about firewater. We didn't do that much, but man, that makes me think of my Ice 101 days. Like taking a shot of mouthwash, minty fresh breath every time. I think the Browns should just lean in. Just call them the Factory of Sadness. Just lean into it, all of it.
You can't put that on a jersey or well, it's already on a T-shirt.
It's on T-shirts, yeah.
Sure you can.
This one from Mark. Love the show. Good morning, Bo. Huge fan, listen every day. Love the stories of the boys and wanted to show you who I met at Polaris Saturday. Really nice guy to keep up the good work. I figured out I can't post pics here. Look on the burner phone. So is this on, like, Man and Bone's burner phone?
I guess a common man got a picture of a guy meeting another guy.
That I must know. But yeah, I can't see that, Mark. Mike and Bone have.
We do not have the burner phone.
I don't have the burner phone access. This one from Zach. The subject is girl math. Remember my wife, he goes, hey, Bo, listen to your Friday story about your wife ordering, quote, free Krispy Kreme. She must have the same girl math my wife does. I have two daughters. One is 4, the other is 2, so they always want Chick-fil-A or Wendy's around lunchtime, but I shoot them down. We can't eat out all the time. And then my wife plans a trip to Disney for this October and says, we're also going next year for her birthday and both girls' birthday because she says if we buy the passes, it's pretty much free. Okay, he writes. Having gone to Disney, nothing's free, baby. Nothing.
I can see that directly from their pitch. Like whoever's selling that Disney package and they bought it hook, line, and sinker. Well, if you buy the add-on, it's practically paid for itself. Like, no, you've still paid for it, guys.
My wife talked me into doing a like the VIP with the guide thing for one of the days, right? So it was an exorbitant fee, but she said, listen, you're not going to have to stand in line. We're going to knock out 3 parks in one day. This is how you do it. Trust me. And I'm like, okay, fine. So it comes to the end of the day, and then she goes to me, oh, we have to tip her. Wait a second. What was all this? What was all this that I've been paying all day? That isn't the tip? I got a tip on top of that? Doesn't she get all of that? Oh, no. So that's part of it. Sneak attacks at the end. Daryl with a golf story. We just teed off and we were walking up the fairway. A group behind us teed off while we were walking. I took a golf ball to the back right between the shoulder blades. This in reference to NBC hitting it into me and Bootsy the other day. I did what every good golfer would do. I picked the ball up and launched it into the woods. When I was hit, there was no no apologies, just glares at the turn in the clubhouse. Jeez. You guys saw that thing go viral, right, of the fight at the golf course?
I was in a golf league once. I was not near this, but I did hear the stories. And granted, we're all in the same golf league together. Somebody hit into somebody without saying anything. The person immediately turned around and hit the golf ball right back.
So right when that thing went viral, I got it was a great Curb Your Enthusiasm bit where he's getting yelled at, like, you're never going to hit them from here. And he swings it. I'm trying to remember who was all involved with that skit, but
it was Richie. Richard Lewis was in it. Jeff Rowland was in it, and
you never hit them.
He got that new driver, and he was putting it out there. And then the guy who was in the fairway was deaf, so his argument was he can't hear anyway. What good's it matter if I yell 4 or not? That was LD's argument.
That's a point. You hit that guy. You shouldn't have been standing there.
Should have been standing there. Shannon, I've got your email and very glad that you're able to secure your High Bank bourbon. So very good job out of you on that. Loaded up mailbag. Tons of stuff and a lot of good stuff from the listeners today. Really appreciate them and love sharing them with all of you. Paul Finebaum in 2 minutes. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
This spring, celebrate the women who made you, raised you, and stood by you. Hi, it's Alex Johnson from the Diamond Cellar.
For over 78 years, whether it's for Mother's Day, an anniversary, graduation, or just because, we've had the perfect gifts for the women who mean the world to you. At Diamond Seller, you'll find timeless jewelry they'll cherish forever because every woman deserves a little sparkle. For all your spring gifting needs, visit Diamond Seller on Selma Road and at Easton Town Center, or shop online at diamondseller.com.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
Montana, Bettis, Horning, and Brown, some of the greatest of all time, kicked off their careers in South Bend. You can celebrate Notre Dame football's impact on the professional game by visiting the Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton to experience Gold Helmet to Gold Jacket now through April 27th. And register to win our grand prize at 971thefan.com/gold jacket. One winner will receive 2 tickets to the Hall of Fame game enshrinement ceremony presented by Novartis and the Hall of Fame Museum. That's 971thefan.com/gold jacket.
I can't wait to meet her. Oh my gosh.
Put your hands together for new Dr. Pepper Blackberry and Dr. Pepper Blackberry Zero Sugar.
There she is! Woohoo! Yeah! It's full Dr. Pepper!
With sweet blackberry flavor!
Dr. Pepper Blackberry, I'm obsessed with your succulent taste. Please marry me!
No! Marry me! Marry me, or I'm gonna freak out!
Try new Dr. Pepper Blackberry.
It's a pepper thing!
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years. The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Bishop and Friends present college football's most polarizing figure.
Hey, Paul, how you doing? Come on back to our show, Tim. The audience hates you.
This is ESPN's Paul Finebaum, sponsored by the Roofing Guys. For all your roofing, siding, and gutter needs, contact the Roofing Guys at theroofingguys.com.
We do it every week at this time. A conversation with our good buddy Paul Finebaum, ESPN and the SEC Network. Paul, thanks so much for taking the time, buddy. Boy, there's a lot to get to here. And I think my favorite story of the week, though, was, and it's you talk it, I talk it. We do college football all the time. The Iamalieva transfer, little brother's coming to Arkansas now says we'd like our money back. Meantime, the kid from Appalachian State who was at UCLA is now at Tennessee. Is there a better "this is why we do college football" story in the last year or so than this one?
No, this is great, and it's only been 2 weeks since it broke, and quite frankly, Bo, not much was happening other than the usual BS from the college football playoff committee. So it was great. It amplifies exactly what is going on right now. And on the Arkansas point, I think Arkansas is making a very dangerous decision here to reclaim a couple of $100,000. They run the risk of turning off a lot of players who are going to see that and go, I don't want any part of that school if they're going to sue me if I decide to bail on them. By the way, they're doing the right thing, but it may not be the right time for them with an embattled coach and a program that has fallen apart.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that I always kind of thought that if there are no guardrails that are provided, and we'll get into the ruling yesterday from the judge in a second, but to me, the only way that this was ever going to kind of slow down is if the collective said, wait a second, we gave you told me we needed this money, we gave you the money, and now the ROI on this isn't what I'm used to. I'm just going to go back to donating to the athletic department and having my name on a brick. That's always been kind of that it will fix itself that way. What are you hearing from boosters and folks around programs in terms of fatigue with funding NILs?
Oh, it's at an all-time high. I was on a campus yesterday lecturing, Bo, and talked to athletic officials and various people, and they told me what you already know, that this period right now between this moment and the actual ruling being put into effect is the craziest that's ever been, because people are they're going willy-nilly. It's like using up cap money for an NFL franchise, and there's no limit to it. So you're seeing all kinds of nefarious things happening. And by the way, that doesn't mean it will end once this judge finally decides to get off her high horse and make this ruling final. But it is an insane time. I was talking to a number of really top boosters yesterday at an SEC school, And everyone's tired of it, but the problem is they know this is the moment in time. And if you're, let me state the obvious here, if you're in the Big Ten or in the SEC, you can get away with it. It's really where the rest of college sports is. Everybody but the Big Ten and the SEC is fearing for their life, and they're fearing this moment that whether Petitti or Sankey says, you know what, we don't need this other garbage. We're walking away and leaving everyone else in the gutter.
Yeah, I get that. I hear that very similar sentiment up here often. In terms of this House settlement, you and I have agreed that we don't think that this – I don't want to put words in your mouth, but from my vantage point, this is a Band-Aid on a hemorrhage, and I think it's going to be overrun relatively quickly. The ruling yesterday from the judge you mentioned on the high horse, hey, we're not going to let you do roster limitations right away. I think anything that is a limit on what someone can make outside of their sports is going to be really tough to hold up in a court of law. What do you make of all of this, acknowledging, and I said this to my audience earlier, Paul, I know it's a tough talk because it's a lot of lawyer speak. So I think what most people just want is their college football, but I think people putting a lot of eggs into this basket, and I don't know if it's going to come home to roost.
No, I understand why they made the settlement, because you meet with risk-averse advisors, and they say we can't afford to lose. I would have kept it in court for 5 more years and hoped that the whole paradigm shift occurs, because it's really a waste of $20 million. It's not solving any problem, and it's a real problem. And you see it at Ohio State, where how do you divide this $20 million up? And the lawsuits will start coming the second that it goes into effect, and that is not going to change. The corruption, I think, is going to only intensify. And, meanwhile, everybody runs to Washington. Nothing happened, of course. Nothing is going to happen. I think what really needs to happen is this sport needs to completely blow up, and then get where I think we're ultimately going to get. And that's with the 2 leagues that I mentioned, and even more lucrative television partners.
Do you think Greg Sankey has the stomach for that? You know him far better. Petitti a little, but it's hard for me to get a real read on what Petitti's in for. Does Sankey have the stomach for blowing this thing up?
Not right now. And one thing you have to remember about Sankey versus Petitti, Sankey is a traditionalist. He came up through the system. He was a small college AD in Louisiana. He was a small college commissioner, Southland Conference. He respects the things that you and I are now laughing at, but I don't think Petitti does. So I think the influence of Petitti, and I think there are a lot of new age athletic directors. Ross Bjork is one of them up there. I met with one yesterday who came from the Lee Steinberg School of Agentry. These are not your cookie cutter ADs that we're used to. And I think they're more willing to say, you know what, I'm sorry, it's a great system, but it doesn't work. We're going to go our own way. We're years away from that. But once again, we just got through with new contracts for the Big Ten and the SEC. What they're talking about now is at the end of these contracts, that's the moment in time when you start seeing more expansion and more deterioration of the other Power 4 leagues.
Paul, you mentioned Ross Bjork, athletic director at Ohio State, who you knew well from his times at Ole Miss and Texas A&M. Ross, with some comments coming out of the college football playoff, and one thing that he has been adamant about anytime he's on our show, anytime he talks publicly, he talks about we got to get this calendar fixed, and that there are some crazy things that are on programs in December and January, and yet this calendar comes out for next year, and we're playing on January 19th, and we're playing into January, and we got quarterfinals around New Year's Eve and New Year's Day to keep the sanctity of the bowls, although the Rose Bowl sunset was not preserved potentially in this as well, which I did chuckle at a little bit. What do you make of someone like Bjork saying, hey, we got to get this fixed? And do you think there is real momentum for that to actually happen?
I don't know where it is, because what you just got through referring to is the template. You have to build it around that. And by the way, that schedule, I think the year after next or the year after that gets worse. The final game is on the 26th as opposed to 20th and 21st. Everybody made a big deal about the 1 hour change on the Rose Bowl. I mean, that took 20 years to get. But it does show that the Rose Bowl is no longer calling all the shots. And by the way, the idea, I covered the Sugar Bowl the last couple of years, the idea that the Sugar Bowl, it literally starts at 9 o'clock Eastern time.
Yep.
I mean, that is patently absurd if you're living where you are and where I am.
Oh, it is. And by the way, I think it's just as absurd that the Orange Bowl is going to be at noon. I mean, you want to talk about a game in Miami at noon. You want to talk about 25,000 people there. That's what you're going to get on New Year's Eve. Is that? I mean, that's going to be that. Yeah,
No,
they got to watch themselves here.
Let's be honest. The College Football Committee, the College Football entity, is a very weak party, and they're getting run over by the television networks, which is okay. I mean, I work for the one we're talking about here, but that. Once again, it's the same old problem. We'll say it for the 5 millionth time. The NFL has completely screwed college football over, and it didn't have to be this way, but it is, so accept it and make the most of it. But back to what Ross said, I don't know how you fix that because the same problems exist next year as they did this year.
Yeah, I hope they move it all up. I hope that they get they try to get most of it done in December, and that's my hope, but that could be hope wishing against hope, which usually doesn't work out. NFL draft is tonight. Is there a player that you covered or watched closely who, upon being drafted, you said, boy, they got a good one there? And conversely, is there a guy who you thought would transition, who you watched closely, to the NFL who didn't?
I'm probably most intrigued by Jackson Dart tonight because, he was always a good quarterback, but he came over from USC to Ole Miss, and he has gone way up the chart. The one I'm really interested in is Jalen Milroe. Before last season, guys like Kiper had him at the top of the list. Now, again, I don't ever take Mel Kiper seriously on the first mock draft. He could go in the first round. If he did, I think it would be laughable. I mean, I would have pulled him as Alabama's starter last year. That's how little I think of Jalen Milroe.
Yeah, I always wondered, would he have been better off financially to stay in college? But I guess we'll see if somebody falls in love, and that's usually all it takes is one. Always appreciate your time, buddy. Thanks for giving us a little bit of it today.
Thank you very much, Bo. See you next week.
All right, there he goes. Paul Finebaum, the Paul Finebaum Show on ESPN and the SEC Network on the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline. We'll play a little Thing or Not a Thing up next. Bishop and Friends right here on the Fan.
Big Voice Guy here to remind you that you're listening to The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Okay, thanks. I have 3 more seconds. Bye-bye.
Steel walk-behind, zero-turn, and stand-on mowers are built to get the job done. Shop online or at your local Steel dealer. Steel. Let's go mow.
Before you start your day, UDF has already started making your breakfast right in our bakery. We've got buttery, flaky croissants baked before the crack of dawn. We're making fluffy buttermilk biscuits from scratch by the time the sun starts to think about rising. And before you hit your first alarm, we've piled our biscuits and croissants high with sausage, egg, and cheese right in store. So come in and grab a fresh one and let us make you a morning person. Fresh baked breakfast sandwiches from United Dairy Farmers. UDF, mornings made for you.
At Meijer, we work hard to bring more locally grown goodness to life with a farm-fresh selection of crisp vegetables and juicy, ready-to-eat fruit. Whether topping off kebabs on the grill or adding healthy color to a leafy green salad, your family will definitely enjoy the delicious taste of Meijer produce. Plus, you'll appreciate the selection and savings we have to offer. That's the fresh-picked good life, priced for real life. We work hard to make life a good deal better at Meijer.
Breaking news, and this one is almost unbelievable.
Yeah, it's all about new customers at Bet365 because they get $150 in bonus bets when they bet $5, win or lose. And even better, bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, and player props.
There you have it. Bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. And see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Ohio. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. T&Cs apply.
It's been a great run. Care Heating and Cooling has achieved goals I could only imagine 30 years ago. But now it's time for the next generation to take over. This is Mike Weens, now the retired founder of Care Heating and Cooling with my sons, Dennis and Ryan.
Dad, I remember you saying that a family business should reflect family values, that a customer deserves to be treated with kindness and compassion.
And those values will never change. The reputation you built for being fair and honest is our greatest asset.
In fact, in 2024, Care was awarded a BBB Torch Award for Ethics and named the Lennox Partner of the Year.
You don't earn those awards by leaving cat toys behind. It's an honor to continue serving Central Ohio as a locally owned, family-run business.
So, whether you need a tune-up, repair, or just honest advice, CARE is here for you.
Call Care Heating and Cooling at 1-800-COOLING or schedule an appointment online at careheatingandcooling.com. When you need a company you can trust.
Common Man here for Germain Lexus of Dublin and Easton. Guess what? It's driving season, friends, and my friends at Germain Lexus are ready for you with their most popular models on the lot and ready to go with special APRs as low as 3.99%, up to 48 months, or 4.49%, up to 60 months with low lease payments starting at $389 per month on the 2025 NX. And if you're looking for a TX, they're finally available for immediate delivery. Germain Lexus, 2 locations to serve you, Dublin and Easton. GermainLexus.com.
Here at The Fan, we give you 14 hours of live and local programming every day. We care about you. We live and work in your community, except Bo Bishop. He won't tell us where the hell he is. Your live and local station, except Bo. The Fan.
I can't sleep.
What is it now?
It's the company. It's chaos.
What's chaos now?
The numbers, the expenses, the books. What if we get audited?
No one's going to audit you at 3 a.m. Go to sleep.
I can't sleep.
You could if you used Ramp.
Who said that?
I don't care because they're right. Go to sleep and sign up for Ramp in the morning, Jerry.
Ramp is the corporate card that handles all your tedious financial operations automatically, integrates directly with your ERP, and gives you complete control over every transaction. Ramp gives you everything you need for bulletproof books and a better night's sleep.
Wow. That is exactly what my company needs.
Yes, and exactly what I also need. Go to sleep, Jerry.
Upgrade to Ramp for free today and get $250 at ramp.com/radio. Ramp.com/radio. That's ramp.com/radio.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank, members FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
All your favorite fan shows are available when you want them.
Head to 971thefan.com and hit that subscribe button.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. With friends like these, who needs former college football players? This is Bishop and Friends.
Time for a little thing or not a thing on a Thursday. Hit it, fellas.
Thing or not a thing.
Sponsored by Apex Plumbing Pros.
All right, I saw this from yesterday. Friend of the program, Amanda Kristovich, who writes for Front Office Sports, said that Arkansas's NIL Collective has sent 2 demand letters to players asking to fulfill buyout clauses. The AD's comments on Wednesday were referring to multiple players who left before NIL contracts expired, including Madna Malieva. Thing or not a thing?
It's a huge thing. I alluded to this with Paul, and he kind of thought that maybe it was a slippery slope for Arkansas to go down, because if you don't want to have this reputation as somebody who doesn't pay, what you promised in NIL. At the same time, if you're Arkansas, you're saying, wait a second, like, we gave you the $200,000 to sign on the line, which is dotted. You did, and then 3 months later you transferred. So this is them just sticking up for their money a little bit. It's a mess. It's an utter mess. It's, I think James and I were dead right on it when we talked about this 4 or 5 years ago. I think it holds up still, that the only thing to really curb this is going to be the collectives themselves saying, we're good, where's my ROI? Like, if you're at Tennessee and you're part of a group of people who gave $8 million to Nico Amalieva, and you're saying to yourself, what did we get for that exactly? That's when it slows. It's going to have to self-police, because if you're waiting for the cavalry to come over the hill in terms of NCAA or the federal government, that ain't happening. So even if they do this $20 million thing with the stipends, like, they're still not going to put any corrals around NIL or how that's done. So the only thing to stop that is itself.
Yeah, I think it's a thing, and we kind of knew this was going to come. At least we thought this was going to come with these players. I thought about this morning when Adam Jardy was on with Morning Juice, and he was talking about Sean Stewart, and Sean Stewart just on April 5th finalized all of his NIL paperwork. Well, what happens now that he's leaving and in the transfer portal? Like, I'm sure he's not going to get that now, but it was very interesting. There's got to be some way for these collectives and universities to get their money back when a kid decides, hey, I'm not going to fulfill this obligation.
Speaking of NIL and the transfer portal, Dabo Swinney and his quarterback, Cade Klubnik, did an interview with ESPN. They both remarked about the state of college football. Dabo said, quote, "It's not just these last few weeks, but the last few years, and there certainly has been no rules. And whatever rules there were, if you tried to enforce them, then they would get changed, and you'd wait 6 months, and they would change again. So, yeah, there's been a ton of chaos, and it's like I told our staff, we're entering a really chaotic time, but the more chaos out there, the better it is for us because we're built for it," end quote. Tigers brought in 3 transfers during the winter portal. They lost a pair in the spring portal and didn't add anyone to their roster since January. To that point, Dabo told ESPN, quote, "We're just sitting back and watching it all around us. It's a crazy time, although I'm not sure a lot of people in our sport should be surprised. I'm just glad we're not a part of it," end quote. I'll do the Dabo stuff first. Thing or not a thing?
I think it's the reason it's not a thing. Look, it's easy to say this when you've won 2 national championships in the last decade. Like if Clemson were still Clemsoning and they didn't have Deshaun Watson and they didn't have Trevor Lawrence and they didn't have the 2 national championships won with those 2 quarterbacks, he doesn't have this tone. He can do this because there's probably very little pressure on him to win any more of them. He's already far exceeded any expectation that Clemson had of itself. So I think you can stand on this line as long as you have Klubnik and as long as you have a team that made the playoff last year and the fact that you won the 2 national titles. But let's remember, when Klubnik leaves after this year, then what? Because remember, Klubnik was the number 1 quarterback in the country coming out. So he's had 4 years of that kid to kind of recruit around. Then what?
Yeah, and they've obviously changed their tune a little bit with the NIL and the transfer portal and stuff because they are using the portal now. I do think when he says that, he's kind of right, though, because it's kind of like here at Ohio State, and Clemson isn't on the same level as Ohio State because they haven't been as good the past few years, obviously, but they are kind of there where they're kind of a program that's built more with quality players because we know the kind of lifestyle Dabo lives and whatnot, and they try to build and get guys and still build their team by recruiting. It's also easy to say that, Bo, when you've got 81% of your offensive your production from last year coming back. I still think, because I looked at this morning at ESPN Bet, Clemson's 20-1 to win the national championship, and I still think that's a heck of a value on them with that coach, with that quarterback, and everybody they have coming back.
I like the value on that, too. I think they're going to be in the mix.
Speaking with ESPN, Clemson quarterback Cade Klubnik says that if NIL comes up in the locker room, quote, "the leaders on this team shut it down real fast." Adding, quote, "You see these teams out there that are losing 10 to 15 guys after spring and then bringing in 20 guys. We had a player-led meeting, and it was the same guys in the room as last January. It's not like you're trying to get to know a lot of strangers," end quote. Thing or not a thing?
Yeah, I think what Klubnik is talking about here, though, are not teams that are punching in the same weight class as Clemson. Like, you don't see 20 guys in and out at Georgia. You don't see 20 guys in and out at Ohio State or Texas or Oregon or Michigan or Penn State. Like, the best programs, you lose a couple here or there, but you're not losing 20. What he's referring to is he's actually punching down. He's talking about Texas Techs and Colorado's and Texas A&M's and these schools that are Ole Miss they're trying to bring in these huge portal. That's not what Clemson is. Clemson is much more closely aligned with the blue bloods of the program of college football than they are at the bottom. So again, they can do this because of who they are. But what happens, because they have not recruited well in 4 or 5 years, what happens when Klubnik leaves and then what? That will be the next thing for them.
Yeah, and it's I'm sure they're not talking about their money. It's probably just hey, we've got team goals here. I imagine this was probably pretty much the same at Ohio State last year when guys were talking about this stuff. It's like, hey, let's just come back and let's focus on winning the national championship. All of that, I'm sure that's the same mindset at Clemson right now as well. Again, how will that be after this year? We'll have to wait and see.
On a recent episode of The Rush with Max Crosby, Shedeur Sanders was asked to name his Mount Rushmore of NFL quarterback-receiver duos. He named Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski, along with Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams. His last one...
You got one more. Whoever going to be the quarterback for DK Metcalf and George Pickens, whoever that is. For sure. I love that.
Thing or not a thing?
Not a thing. I think he's having fun in this process. I mean, he did this with other teams too that he flirted with along the way. I think he's really enjoying the process, and whatever comes of it, who knows? Now they have him at 21.5 is like where he, kind of the number of where he's going to get picked in order to bet it. So I don't think it's a thing. I think he's just having a lot of fun.
Yeah, I don't think it's a thing either, but it's interesting, like how confident his camp was and Dion was that he was going to be, he should be the number one player picked in the draft, the number one quarterback. And now it's almost like, hey, maybe they realize 21 at Pittsburgh is their best shot.
We'll skip to Will Campbell here. LSU's offensive tackle is going to be one of the top offensive linemen in the draft tonight. He was asked about people that might be scrutinizing his arm length.
For 2 years, nobody had any measurements on me, and nobody said anything about my play. So now all of a sudden, an arm length decides if I'm a good player or not. I think it's BS. But, any decision makers in the NFL, they don't really care. It's all, people who don't coach, and they don't coach for a reason.
Thing or not a thing?
Well, this is a medium thing, but this is probably. I was thinking about this in terms of this year's draft, and Campbell would certainly be among those that this would apply to as well. But if you go to, let me just pull this up, best available, how many of these guys did anything in the way of testing or pro days? Like Abdul Carter didn't. Travis Hunter didn't. I don't think Ashton Genty did. Jalen Walker, Mason Graham. I mean, they did like pro days, but they didn't do like the
they're kind of just there
stuff, So I think that, this is kind of where we're headed, where all of those things, that underwear Olympics at the combine, it's kind of being phased out, and there's less of it. So I think he's right in the tone that he has. Like at some point, and I think the NFL's getting there, the tape's the tape, and that's what they're relying on most.
And that's the thing to me. I think for too long, we've worried about measurables. I don't know when it got to there, but it started to become measurables. Like, oh man, this guy can bench press this much, and this guy can do this in the cone drill. And some of those things are relative to your production on the field. But sometimes you just got to look at the tape and see, man, when it's man on man and the ball is in play, this guy can go out and do it.
Yeah, that's the job. The tape is the tape. Final hour, Dane Brugler, NFL draft guru at The Athletic, going to join us at 11:30. His final thoughts, his last mock draft came out this morning. Get his take on what he thinks will happen tonight versus what should. That's all in that final hour. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
We've been your Jackets flagship station since day one. All the goals, all the action, all the memories. Your home for the Columbus Blue Jackets, The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Buy now with pre-tariff pricing at Coughlin Kia. Lease a new 2025 Kia K4, just $195 a month plus taxes and fees. Or choose low 1.9% financing for 60 months on a new 2025 Kia Sportage or Sorrento. Visit CoughlinKia.com. Coughlin has the car for you.
1.9% for 60 months equals $18.37 per 1,000 with approved credit through Kia Motor Finance. 24-month lease, 10,000 miles per year, 20 cents per mile over. 2025 due. Excludes $250 dock fee, $400 disposition fee at lease end. No security deposit. See dealer for details. Ends 4/30/25.
Sometimes you don't realize something was bothering you
until it's gone.
That's how you're going to feel
after we work our magic at your house.
We make junk disappear.
All you have to do is point.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK
or visit 1-800-GOT-JUNK.com.
You can stream the game on your phone while you're gardening. You can stream it while you walk the dog. You can stream it at a trampoline park. You can even stream it at a monster truck rally. But the second you get behind the wheel, the game's over. Remember, Ohio, phones down. It's the law.
Aaron, I've got an idea.
Is it a new invention?
Of course it is. That's why I'm known as Jerry the Genius.
Really? I've never heard anyone call you that.
Get eco. ECO. I've invented the hot water heater ambulance.
Does it have lights and sirens?
No.
It would be better if it had lights and sirens.
Get eco. ECO. So you agree that being without hot water is an emergency, right?
Of course I do. That's why we guarantee to replace your water heater the same day you call us.
But what if I call late in the afternoon?
Call us anytime before 5 p.m. and we'll get it installed that day.
Get eco. ECO. But what if after you get there, I change my mind and decide I want a tankless water heater instead of one like I had?
Then we'll install a tankless water heater for you instead of the one you had.
Same day?
Same day.
Get Eco.
ECO. Eco plumbers, electricians, and HVAC technicians.
Go to GetEco.com.
It's Leslie from Pella Columbus.
I'm Wilson from that other window place.
Wilson, I got the nicest Google review today. Dewey from Gehanna said, "We cannot believe we are able to get the Pella look and quality at the cost we did."
I got a review too. Listen to this. These windows were great. Oh boy, for about a year. Looks like I'll need to renew, in quotes for some reason, my windows way too soon. Repeat customer?
Get the window that homeowners rated the leading window brand in Columbus at PellaColumbus.com.
Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter. Spring is here and it's time to refresh your yard with Ohio Mulch. With 15 convenient locations in Central Ohio, it's easier than ever to get your mulch ready for the season. Need it delivered? No problem. Save $50 on home delivery when you order online. Whether it's mulch, soil, or even stone, we've got your yard covered. Visit OhioMulch.com today and spruce up your garden with the best.
Ohio Mulch, landscape supply, cleaner, greener, better.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
Vivid Seats is your ultimate destination for basketball and hockey this season. With a game-changing rewards program and an unbeatable selection of tickets, they make it easy for every fan to watch their favorite teams and players in action. Catch every one-timer and buzzer-beating 3 live and in person from your favorite seat. Plus, every ticket is backed by a 100% buyer guarantee, giving you peace of mind with every purchase. Don't miss out. Visit VividSeats.com or download the app today. Vivid Seats, the official ticketing partner of ESPN.
The sports calendar is heating up, and with ESPN Bet Sportsbook, you can go from checking news and stats to placing bets in just a couple of taps. Stream games, bet live, and get exclusive offers when you link your ESPN account. Right now, you can get $100 in bonus bets when you make your first $10 wager. Download the ESPN Bet app and sign up with promo code JOEQ to get started today. That's JOEQ, JOEQ. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details. Offer not available in New York.
Bobby Carpenter here for Germain Toyota. Swing by Germain Toyota and ask for Marcello and discover unbeatable deals and a wide selection of new and certified pre-owned Toyota vehicles. Visit them at germaintoyota.net. Germain Toyota on the corner of I-70 and Bryce Road.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. For the first time since 2021, the Browns will have a first-round draft pick. Cleveland has the second overall selection in tonight's NFL draft. It'll be held in Green Bay. The Titans have the top pick. They'll officially be on the clock at 8 p.m. We'll have live draft coverage on the Fan starting at 7. The Bengals pick at 17. The Steelers select at 21. Rounds 2 and 3 start Friday at 7. Rounds 4 through 7 start noon Saturday. In college football, the transfer portal window closes tomorrow. On Wednesday, North Carolina defensive end Bo Atkinson committed to Ohio State. He was over Georgia and South Carolina. The 6'6", 265 Atkinson will have 2 seasons of eligibility remaining. In baseball Thursday, both the Guardians and the Reds have the day off. This update's brought to you by Germain Toyota, the best selection of new and used cars in Central Ohio. View their full selection of vehicles online at germaintoyota.net. Breaking sports news when it happens on The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
10 feet tall and bulletproof isn't just a saying, it's a way of life. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Final hour here on a Draft Day Thursday edition of the program. Do you guys, does the name Mike Mamula mean anything to you?
No.
Gosh, that sounds familiar.
All right. You asked where analytics and stuff came into the draft process versus the tape. He's probably the first example. Mike Mamula played football at Boston College, okay? He was there through the 94 season. He was an all-Big East player. He was the first player, or is credited as the first player to train specifically for the combine drills. Okay? So while everyone else up until that point, they just said the tape's a tape, measure me, whatever, he actually trained for it. And he had 26 reps at 225 on the bench, which was more reps than the top tackle taken. He ran a 4.58, which was considered extremely fast. He was a defensive end. He scored 49 out of 50 on the Wonderlic, second highest score ever recorded by an NFL player. He had a vertical jump of 38.5, which is higher than the highest cornerback in that class. His four square run was good. His 3-cone drill was off the charts. All of this stuff. He physically, he had everything, and he checked the box in every one of them. So much so that the Philadelphia Eagles, wowed by his impression and his work at the Combine, traded their first-round pick, 12th overall, and 2 second-round selections to Tampa Bay to go up from 12 to 7 to draft Mike Mamula. Okay? The thinking was that he would fill the void left by Reggie White, who had left a couple of years earlier. Now, here's the part that's really painful here. The picks that went back to Tampa Bay are guys I know you have heard of. At pick number 12 was a guy named Warren Sapp, and one of the second-round picks was Derek Brooks. So those are gold jackets, right? Mike Mamula played 77 career games with the Eagles. Best seasons were 96 and 99. He was fine, but he was kind of a workout warrior. So you have this combination of you ask, like, when did this start? It's actually mid-90s is when this started. Mike Mamula went number 7 overall in large part because how he tested at the Combine. And we've seen the other side of that with like DK Metcalf, who fell in the draft because of his 3-cone. Well, he doesn't need to run a lot of 3-cone drills when you're running go routes and deep overs. It's not that important, change of direction. Just be really fast and really big. So they're still trying to find the sweet spot on it now 30 years later. Time for a little higher or lower. Hit it, fellas.
Bishop and Friends present Higher or Lower.
Sponsored by the Waterworks. Call the Waterworks and Header Heating and Cooling today at 614-232-2222 or visit online at thewaterworks.com.
Oh, baby.
Today's higher or lower comes to us from the 33rd team. Marcus Mosher ranked the top 10 draft classes since the year 2000. Okay. So he took every team, all 32 of them, every year, who had the best one. And then of those 25 years, he picked his top 10 favorite draft classes. Again, this is by team. He does not have, obviously, the 2024 draft class, because we'll maybe do some honorable mention of that later. But at number 1 on this, again, the last 25 years, he has the 2018 Baltimore Ravens draft class, headlined by Lamar Jackson, taken with the 32nd overall pick. Can't go any higher, but higher or lower for the Ravens 2018 draft class here.
This is a crazy bounty. I mean, my God. So they went Hayden Hurst at 25. They went Lamar Jackson at 32. Orlando Brown at 83. Mark Andrews at 86. I mean, you want to talk about crushing it. That's flipping the script on a franchise in a hurry. One of the things jumps out to me here, though. The one at number 2, we could probably have that conversation if the one at number 2 deserves to be higher than this one, because it did manifest in a Super Bowl championship, and I'll get to that in just a second. But it is worth noting that when people say Baltimore was so smart for drafting Lamar, they passed on him too. They draft Hayden Hurst at 25. Like, Lamar went at 32. So they weren't sure on him at 25. Now, Bake, I do think it's these two drafts. The Seahawks draft in 12, which is number 2 on this, is crazy. So Bruce Irvin, they take 15 overall, but their second and third round picks are Bobby Wagner and Russell Wilson.
It's pretty good.
That's the best for me in the last 25 years. And talk about impactful draft classes on a singular franchise.
I mean, Bobby Wagner is a first ballot Hoff. Like, maybe the best linebacker of a generation. Just pull up his first team go pull up his all pros. There aren't many players in the history of the sport that have more all pro nominations than Bobby Wagner, and they had him 47. And then if they don't draft Russell Wilson, who started as a rookie, they had just signed Matt Flynn. And he was so good right away that he pushed him out, and they won a Super Bowl almost immediately, Bake.
So
it's really
these
good.
are both very good. And that Ravens one with Lamar and Orlando Brown, who's been very good, and Mark Andrews. And listen, Hayden Hurst didn't do really anything for them, but he's been a productive tight end. That's really good. There's one later on in this list, though, that has two surefire first ballot Hall of Famers to me that I don't care if there was nobody else in the draft and there really wasn't. That's tough for me to pass on.
Where are you going? How far down this list? Because the one at 3 is pretty damn good.
The one at 3 is really good as well.
So again, this is the 33rd team's ranking of the 10 best NFL draft classes since 2000. At number 3, the 2017 New Orleans Saints, which has Marshawn Lattimore taken with the 11th overall selection. I'll go to number 4, the 06 Saints draft, which has Reggie Bush as the 2nd overall pick, Roman Harper as the 43rd overall selection, and then to number 5, the 07 San Francisco 49ers draft class, headlined by Patrick Willis with the 7th overall selection. Higher or lower for the Niners in 07?
Here's the hard thing with New Orleans at 3 is Lattimore's not there anymore. They still have Kamara. Alex Anzalone's been a great player. He just plays for Detroit now, and Trey Hendrickson's with Cincinnati. So, if they just would have kept all these guys and maintained them, that's an unbelievable class. Because Marcus Williams, they had dudes everywhere. Remchek is still there, but
I think he just retired, right?
Oh, did he finally?
I think he just retired last week.
Yeah, that's a really good class. It's just very few of those guys are still in New Orleans.
That number 4 class for New Orleans with Reggie Bush and Roman Harper, not great there, but Rob Ninkovich, Jahari Evans, some guys they got later, Marquise Colston, he was a star for them, number 1 guy for a long time. I still think I would drop that down a little bit. The 49ers one, Patrick Willis, great pick. Just wish we could have seen him play longer. Joe Staley, a long time there. I think you said higher or lower on this 49ers one. I think I've got to put it lower, though.
Yeah, I think there's the one at number 7 should be much higher than it is.
At 6.
By the way, how do you win a Super Bowl? We talked over the Seahawks draft at the 2010.
This 10 one's really good.
They draft Russell Okung, Earl Thomas, Golden Tate, Cam Chancellor.
That one should be higher.
That one should be higher. That's how you win a Super Bowl. And they did.
At 7.
There you go.
The 2001 San Diego Chargers, headlined by LaDainian Tomlinson with the 5th overall pick. Higher or lower for the 01 Chargers here?
So the only thing that it's kind of like what I did with the Saints, whereas because Breeze is 32. So they go LaDainian Tomlinson, Drew Brees, 2 first ballot Hoffs, but they didn't keep Breeze. Is that pretty wild that they didn't keep him? I know he had an injury there, which is why he didn't go to Miami either and why the Saints ended up with him. But it's pretty wild that they had Tomlinson and Breeze, and then they drafted Rivers. They could have just traded number 1 overall and got a bounty and just built around Breeze and Tomlinson.
That injury, though, a lot of people thought Drew Brees would never play again at the time from that injury.
That's why Saban didn't sign him with the Dolphins. It's one of the great what-ifs.
So I don't think I can penalize a draft class just because the guys didn't stay with the team.
Fair.
I think the draft class is still what it is. And to me, in my lifetime, LaDainian Tomlinson is the 2nd best running back I've ever watched behind Barry Sanders. Mm-hmm. The Chargers, until Harbaugh got there and Justin Herbert, were kind of my 2nd NFL team because I loved LaDainian Tomlinson and watching him play that much. LT and Drew Brees are, like I said, surefire first ballot Hall of Famers to me. This class has got to go way up near the top for me.
I agree with you. I think this is number 2, probably.
All right, so we'll round it.
Might even be 1,
at 8, the 04 Cardinals draft with Larry Johnson. At 9, the 2016 Dallas Cowboys draft with Ezekiel Elliott and Dak Prescott. At 10, the 2022 New York Jets draft with Sauce Gardner, Garrett Wilson, and Breece Hall. Higher or lower for the Jets at 10?
Isn't it crazy that they landed that draft that way and it's manifested nothing?
They're still this bad?
They suck, and there's no real path.
It's the quarterback.
Yeah, it's just if you don't have the quarterback, you don't have anything. And, they tried a bunch of them, and, it just didn't work. But that's a great draft. That Cowboys draft's a great draft, too.
Yeah, I think both.
Zeke and Dak.
Jalen Smith, he was pretty good. Well, he just had a couple years, but
he broke his leg in the game against us.
Yeah,
and then they still took him in the second round. He basically redshirted that whole year. He would have been a top 5 pick had that not happened.
I think both of those classes at 9 and 10 have to go a little bit higher. In that Jets class, depending on what it turns out here that's a pretty new class. That could shoot up this list a lot as these guys get older.
So something to think about, because it doesn't have any of the draft classes from 23 or 24. The 23 Texans class and the 24 Commanders class. Where do you think those would go if included in this list? Like, would those be in the top 10, or are those outside looking in?
CJ class with him. There's a receiver in there.
It's CJ, Will Anderson.
Oh yeah, they were 1 and 2. Jeez.
I think is it Tank Dell?
Boy, that's nailing it.
Pretty
That's
good.
flipping your franchise right away. You land franchise quarterback and franchise defensive end in the same draft. That set yourself up for success.
I don't know if those can be in the list yet, but they sure could be in a few years.
They're on the come, certainly. The NFL draft, round 1 is tonight. Dane Brugler, the best in the business, at us. He will join us in 15 minutes. His final mock came out this morning. We'll go over it coming up next. Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
We used to have a billboard with our host's face on it, but only ugly people work here now.
You mama say you ugly, hey!
The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
This spring, celebrate the sparkle that she brings to your life with something that sparkles right back. Whether it's for Mother's Day, an anniversary, or just because, Diamond Cellar has the perfect gift for the women who mean the world to you. Visit Diamond Cellar today on Selma Road and at Easton Town Center.
Breaking news coming in from Bet365, and it's no surprise. Same-game parlay from Bet365 just keeps getting better.
Well, it's even easier to make a bet. Choose from the most popular markets like hits, run line, totals, and home runs. So many to choose from.
Download the app, start building your bet, and see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Ohio. T&Cs apply.
Hey there, friends. Bo Bishop here to let you know that Clayton Home's Go Big and Go Home sales event is going on now. Go big this year with a new, affordable, energy-efficient, modern manufactured home. Clayton Homes is changing the way homes are built, making them affordable to buy and cost less to live in. Every Clayton-built home uses quality products from the world's most trusted brands and comes equipped with energy-smart features for year-round comfort and a lifetime of savings. The craftsmen at Clayton build their homes in state-of-the-art facilities to protect your new home from the elements during construction. Clayton Homes and Freedom Homes are ready to help you find your dream home. They're here to help answer all of your questions, from floor plans to design features. Check out their fully furnished new home models and see all the options available to create the perfect home for you. For a limited time, you can save even more on select homes during Clayton Homes Go Big and Go Home sales event. Don't wait. This event ends April 30th. Visit the local Clayton Homes near you or browse their limited time deals at gobigandgohomesale.com.
I can't wait to meet her. Oh my gosh.
Put your hands together for new Dr. Pepper Blackberry and Dr. Pepper Blackberry Zero Sugar.
There she is! Woohoo! Yeah! It's full Dr. Pepper!
With sweet blackberry flavor!
Dr. Pepper Blackberry, I'm obsessed with your succulent taste. Please marry me!
No! Marry me! Marry me, or I'm gonna freak out!
Try new Dr. Pepper Blackberry.
It's a pepper thing!
Guys, what's up? It's Matty Ice, and I'm here with Wendy's. And if you're looking for your next sandwich love, check out the Cajun Crunch Chicken Sandwich. This sandwich really has me feeling the heat, and it's packed with bold Cajun flavors that add that perfect little kick. Plus, it's topped with crispy onions that give it a satisfying crunch in every single bite. And did I mention this is all on top of Wendy's iconic spicy chicken sandwich? So if you love that, you have to get your hands on this Cajun Crunch Chicken Sandwich before it's gone. For that little extra kick, it's got to be Wendy's. Open until midnight or later.
Do your good-looking shoes hurt and you don't want to wear ugly shoes? At the Good Feet store, we can help you wear your heels, boots, and dress shoes again in comfort. Trade in your bad feet for good feet at the Good Feet store.
It's one of the best weeks of the year. Draft Week. Draft Week. Draft Week on The Fan is
presented by the Crown Automotive Group in Dublin.
The Fan. Ohio's sports destination.
You can stream the game on your phone while you're gardening. You can stream it while you walk the dog. You can stream it at a trampoline park. You can even stream it at a monster truck rally. But the second you get behind the wheel, the game's over. Remember, Ohio, phones down. It's the law.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty. Do you want to sell your property, however, you need a little help getting through the process? Let's say you have years of belongings in the home. It needs a lot of updating, you're overwhelmed, and you may need help finding a place to go. I will help you. Visit us today at TurboTrackRealty.com or call me now for an all-cash offer and, more importantly, the help you need at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
Fan weather.
From the Logan